Tell me about it. I hate men. I
What's
hate men too.
up? Just kidding. It's so annoying.
I love that avatar. The Costco chicken bake.
What do
I
you think
told you I
my
know how
mouth
to.
is? What do you think's in my mouth right now?
Did
Big,
you
long, juicy, thick Costco chicken bake.
did you make it or did you buy it at Costco?
They deliver to my house.
What?
I'm dating the president of
What?
Costco.
How did you get that? What are you, Beth Ostrowski over there in Riverhead? For Christ's sake!
I'm dating the president of Costco.
I got to know more about the Costco executive board. I got to get
I'm
those
on it.
names down. Oh, you're on it. Okay, I knew
Yep,
it. I
I
know it
am now.
because I told you I make my own.
Yes, I know.
I learned that, and I think it's comparable to theirs. I think it's just as good.
Hmm.
I think I can definitely I put my own twist on it. But that is a bizarre. It's one of the bizarre things Costco has. They have the pizza. They have that. They don't have soft pretzels anymore, which is so
I'm
bizarre.
so
And they don't have
obsessed.
chocolate soft
Oh,
serve
yeah,
frozen
yay.
yogurt anymore, which is also so bizarre. But I realized with Costco, they don't have anything fried. Everything has got to be baked. So
Mm-hmm.
there's no hamburgers, there's no French fries, there's none of that. Everything is baked or boiled, or broiled or broiled.
And it tastes wonderful. Not everything needs to be fried.
As do you, honey.
No,
As do you.
I'm
Welcome,
fried.
everyone. Welcome, A. Smith, sir. Thank you for all your menschy little bon mots, whether it be on the gunk boards or here and in general in life. Hopefully, we have you booked for the 21 Jump Street. Is called Don't Stretch the Rainbow. It is about race wars at a high school. It is so, to this day, I cannot remember what exactly the assignment even is for
Yeah.
Hanson. It's one of those episodes.
We,
You go, what? Why are they in there?
I apologize. We are not doing a jump street this weekend because I am gone all day tomorrow and it's just a mess. My whole weekend is a mess. So we're getting everybody scheduled. We have some guests lined up that I've been in contact with. Arm will be emailing you ASAP.
Well, we have Kathy Scott in the chat, who we love, is a my favorite correctional officer. She has worked on Orange is the New Black. She's worked on Oz, Mayor of Kingstown, and if she would, she is booked for a "You Ought to Be in Prison" episode, which is coming up. It's two from here, right? It's this, and David's going to be in the Honor Bound, which is the gay bashing episode. Isn't that perfect? We have everybody's ballywick fits in.
Hmm. Well, again, Arm will be emailing all of you with
The premise of
scheduling.
you ought to be in prison is the return of Waxer Thompson
Hmm.
from the pilot, who is he is now 63 years old in real. I'm so proud I found his age out after 15, at least 15 years of research. Since I've had the internet, I've tried to find out how old he is. Reginald T. Dorsey, and he breaks out of a juvenile detention facility, to use that term loosely. The 28-year-old breaks out of a juvenile detention facility and goes on the lam with his old friend, and then seeks revenge on Hanson, who he sees on television as a bodyguard for Jeremy Woods, this fictitious actor, which some believe is actually based on Depp himself, which I don't believe it is. It's too early in his Jump Street career to call him a diva of any, or being difficult on Jump Street in any
Hmm.
way. Uh,
Well, he may have left an early impression. Who knows?
It's kind of early though. It's early into season two. I don't see them, and he would have saw right through the script, foreshadowing. In this episode, we have Gene Simmons' wife, softcore porn
Yeah.
extraordinaire Shannon Tweed, one of our favorite Canadians. She plays the agent of Jeremy Woods. She plays his kind of Tracy Jacobs, and we have Tony Todd, aka the Candy Man, who is also Depp's co-star in Platoon. So he was one of the guys in Oliver Stone's Platoon, which Depp is friends with, and I'm sure he got him cast on that as the warden of the juvie prison.
And update, I am the next stop for Amazon. So if you throw to me and I'm muted, that's why. I'll be 2 seconds.
Don't tell me what it's like to be punched.
Jonathan Sheck is delivering my Amazon, so I may be about an hour and a half.
That's what he's doing now,
Hmm.
working for Amazon. They
Mm.
he wishes, by the
I
way.
would like to see him in that uniform.
Three-eyed catfish, welcome. Midlife crisis, welcome. There's our cat Scott. There's Ida Greenbacks, who we love. Ida would like Ida to sit in on one of our episodes. We can somehow make that if she would do it, if she'd agree to do it.
Have a headset and a mic, or a mic and earbuds.
You gotta do it. We'll make it very easy. I think we're an easy hang, right? Not Sarah. Sarah's intimidating as fuck, but I think I'm an easy. Sue
Yeah.
Sue 73. Welcome. Good
New
to.
name, love it.
I think she was in one other time.
Was she?
Yeah, I
My
think.
apologies. I'm sorry.
But it was a quick cameo. It was, and you
Okay,
may not have been on at that time.
that's all right.
Kathy Spotlight.
Let me get to it. We are $80 away, and this is the last day of the month. If you're not able to donate, hit the like button, please. That helps us more than you know. If you are able to donate, throw a few shekels, and there's Amazon knocking. Throw a few shekels toward Mr. Arm via super chat, super thanks, super sticker, or join us over on patreon.com/wino forever. Thank you. I'll be right
I
back.
I feel like such a platitude cliche whore saying like and subscribe. So I almost never say
Who
it during the.
cares? Shuli makes $2,000
He does
a
not
night.
make anything. There's no way people are.
Well,
It's such.
I
It's
hate to
such
break it to you,
inflatable.
he does. I'll be right
You
back before my
love
package gets
to
stolen.
embellish that shit. American Costco's have poutine, said midlife crisis. Do they? Do they what? Since when? I didn't even know what poutine was until I thought it was slang. I thought it was like you know what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? I thought it was male chauvinist slang for a broad they're hitting on. You know what I mean? P whipped.
I'm back.
Texaho, welcome. We haven't seen you in a while. Howdy, all. A little regional dialects since the live chat is so very cultural tonight with the poutine reference. What is poutine again, Sarah?
I don't know. I'm not French.
Do you remember
Actually,
what
I
Artie
am. I don't
said? Do you
know.
remember what Artie said to Depp on the Howard interview he did?
Remind me.
He goes, I ain't farming anymore. He's making fun of his parents. He goes, I ain't farming anymore. I'm getting me some French poontang. And he was doing this like contrived
Of course.
southern accent. At one point,
Is it
he
most of it?
kind of confuses the accent, and Depp calls him out on it. It was really subtle, great Depp moment here. Artie goes, my son is on the television, and Depp goes, really? What was that? It was an amazing combination of French and Kentucky at the same time. And Artie
Yeah.
tries to clean it up. He goes, "That's what I mean. I'm my son television. You got it." Like that was his real intention.
Mm-hmm.
Great interview. I'm gonna put an extended version of that up on YouTube. I'm gonna put like a director's cut, and I'm gonna add all the Depp dialogue before it and after for about a 3 or 4 year period,
Okay.
possibly starting with my fight with Billy Baldwin, where I referenced Depp 3 times.
All
I
right.
might throw that in there just to self promote.
And you are don't give it away unless you really want to, but you were working on a big project for the
No, I'm
Patreon right
giving it away.
now.
I'll give it away right now. I was working on it last
Oh,
night for
okay.
4 hours.
All right.
I'm doing the Gary Delabate Baba Booey roast special. So obviously, it starts with the actual unedited roast itself. This is on Patreon because I would put it on, and then I'm doing everything that happened after it as relates to it in terms of the wrap-up show, the dialogue right after the roast, in between the superfan roundtable that week, the following week's show where they come back and Beth is so mortified they make fun of her, and just throwing that all together. Like last night, I added after the roast, which I think is at 2 hours or an hour and 40. I put together an hour 50 of stuff after it. So that's just a little bit. And I haven't even gotten to the next week yet. And I'm going to meld it all together in this like super special. It's kind of tough. Like I'm doing it in real time. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not, not doing the thing where I separate the audio. So yeah, you'll really love it. There's so much little stuff in there that I didn't even catch the first time around.
Yep. I feel
Welcome,
your
Zep.
pain with the James Dean thing I'm doing.
But elite, yours is more artistic. Mine's just
Oh,
straight through, ramshackle, fucking listen to everything, and I'm not doing anything art. I mean, it's my art, and I suffer for it, but it's not what. It's a different kind of suffering.
yeah. When you gotta go, I'm a third of the way done with the James Dean thing. When you gotta go line by line in a documentary, Jesus Christ, 30 minutes feels like 30 years.
If you can, and maybe you can't. If I
I'm
can
not
find the,
changing anything.
if I could find the clip of Martin Landau talking about Depp, and I know I've seen it in print, but at some point he goes, Johnny is more like Jimmy than anyone I've ever worked with, and he, I feel like he said it during one of these weird documentaries he did, possibly the E one, possibly the Bravo one, and I just can't isolate it. I can't find it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He's Martin Landau's always used to comment on Depp when they do these biographies back
Send it
then.
and I'll fit it in somewhere.
Voice of the Scorpion. I can't wait to show you that on Spider-Man. And I told you that his agent had him pulled off Spider-Man the animated series because he was too big after he won the Academy Award on Ed Wood. It's funny because Spider-Man's a Fox show too, which Depp started the Fox network.
Mm-hmm.
Poutines is fries, cheese curds, and gravy. Effing amazing. I still don't know what that is. Huh.
Cheese curds are delicious. Fries, of course, are delicious.
The only thing good
What
that came
kind of
out of
gravy? Is it gravy as in
chicken gravy.
sauce, or is it like white gravy?
Why does shit got to be white?
Yeah,
Huh?
I know, privilege.
Welcome, G Canada. I had something to say to G Canada. I want to get going this week on the Depth Illusion G Canada project, as he will be, of course, testicular provenance. Depth Illusion. I love that. David loves it more than I do. Midlife. Okay, Zep, like the disco fries better. That's a real thing, right? Disco fries.
I don't know.
G Canada. David may be the king of testicular providence, but I am the king of phony phone calls. Screw set. G. Cannon, I don't know why. You're always welcome on. I think Monique was trying to mix it up, so she's like, "Let's get some new people on." But you're always welcome on our. We had a phone in on Wednesday, so a lot of the great people called in, and it was just a random, kind of thing, and on Radio Gunk, and this is what Howard claimed. Sarah, do you remember Howard used to claim that was the way the phones were done, where you didn't screen anything and people would just. He claimed that he would just pick up on anybody and nobody would be screened. That is such
Mhm.
bullshit. I've called in so many times. You know how heavily I was screened? I couldn't. It took me a half
Rightfully
hour to
so.
get my pitch out. A half hour. That's how heavily screened. And I'm talking about the late 90s. So
Mhm.
we just
I
took
would
it without.
screen you also. You were a phone terrorist back then.
Sarah, where's my bathwater? Hooper once said.
Hooper, and thank you, Hooper, by the way.
Yes, Hooper.
As always, I told you, Hooper, that is at the $500 level on Patreon.
Hooper had a great question, and I guess the Radio Gunk Deppening super thread that kind of goes at that A. Smith bumps all the time. He's like, "What are you losers are hanging out with John and Sarah and Bon Jovial tonight?" And I go, and I'm thinking, what he said is, would you be doing this if you were in your 20s?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do I need money?
No, I'm forget. I'm just talking about like the social life in your 20s, like when we all typical 20 somethings who go out all the time and drinking and partying. Do you think you would, if technology were further along when you were in your 20s, would you be doing something like this in your 20s, or would you say, no, I can't. This is
No,
such.
I probably would. I'd rather do this than go out.
If it was Depp, I would stay in and do it.
Mhm.
If it was a Depp centric thing, I would totally stay in.
Mhm.
I mean, I wouldn't just do. It's got to be something I'm really, really passionate about. But this is something like a Howard thing back then, or certainly a Depp thing. I would totally stay in. But I would drink. I would be most certainly drinking during it. That way, there's no way I would miss a night of drinking. That's not happening. Never seen Johnny Meyer. Welcome, sir. I've never seen your podcast till now. I'm the one who was an extra in Ed Wood. Oh shit, we talked to you. Is there Johnny when we do the Ed Wood show? Would you come on and talk to us about your experience on that and who's what? And because it's a massively, massively talented supercast. I mean, when you're talking about besides after Depp, I said Martin Landau before, Bill Murray, Patricia Arquette, Sarah Jessica Parker, Jeffrey Jones, your favorite, Max Casella from Doogie Howser, Vincent D'Onofrio with a cameo appearance as Orson Welles.
Mhm.
It's endless. I would love to know. And Johnny, if it makes you feel any better, we'll just make you black and white so you can feel like you're Ed Wood. The 19 but please, please say yes. We'll make it real easy on you, I tell you,
No
because
pressure.
I think we're easy hangs. I know you're intimidating like Liz Cheney. I think we're pretty easy
You
hangs.
make it very easy for anybody who might be timid and thinking they have to pull the weight. You don't have to. Arm does it all,
You know
happily.
why? Because
Thank
like
God.
Robin Williams, I have incessant anxiety, imposter complex, and I want to make the people feel as comfortable as I am uncomfortable. And
Whatever works.
as Bon Jovial said, I like the night and I like being a vampire because it's so brilliant what he said. I'd never heard this before. the world slows down at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you just feel peaceful, and you get addicted to that.
That's when I get up to go to work, so I don't agree.
Well, don't you feel like peaceful though at that time, knowing you're kind of an outlier, right? 3 a.m. is kind of crazy.
It's not crazy to me. I used to get up at 2:30. But yes, it is very peaceful.
We love you too, Sue B Sue 73. Thank you so
Yes, thank
much.
you.
Please stop in every week, and if you have any ideas or questions, email us. If you want to sit on a future show that you're passionate about, or 21 Jump Street. I don't know if you're into 21 Jump Street, but
Or
I
90210.
90210 too, and then Sex in the City's coming after that, or
No, it's
in and
not.
around. Yes, it is.
No, you let me know when I'm fitting that in. Thank you.
I'll do it if you don't want to do it. If
Okay,
anyone
bye.
else wants, but you could. I mean, you don't have to do every one. Why do you have to do every one?
I don't.
Freedom Fries, G Canada. That's right. Kathy Scott. What state are you in? Gunga Din. Welcome, Gunga Din. The Trick Dam $2 glasses. Do they still have 3D glasses in movie theaters?
I don't know. I haven't been to a theater since oh God, Aquaman, the first one.
Aquaman. Oh God, can you believe it's gonna be almost 6 years between sequels of that movie?
And the second one sucks, apparently.
I tell you, I would have, if I were them, if I were the production, knowing that was going to be a hit, and I knew it was going to do well, I would have shot two at the same time,
Hmm.
because they have done that before
They
with
should have.
Pirates 2 and 3 did that, and Matrix did it, and something else did it. If anybody remembers the other franchise,
Lord of the Rings,
well,
I believe.
thank you, Bond. Thank you. That's exactly.
Go with a smile.
It's my theme song. Wow.
No,
Isn't it ridiculous?
I just love that.
Sometimes I just stun myself with how ridiculous the drops are.
That was really good.
Well, you know.
You love Backdance and all. By the way, I own all Warner Brothers products and licensing. I own all Prince's music, and you cannot give me a copyright for it. I
And
own all of it.
Seinfeld.
And
okay?
Seinfeld. I own.
Go, go, go.
I didn't mean to press that. I'm a bit rusty.
And I hate men.
There you go. Get it
know,
out of our system.
I know we have we have a huge gun problem in this culture, and
Oh, you do. God.
we really
it's
do. And
sad.
I wanted to.
There's
It's
a
really,
mental
sad,
illness
man.
problem more than a gun problem.
nah, it's both.
See,
It's both.
that's what a lot of people say over there.
It's a
mental,
good excuse.
I have guns. I don't shoot people.
This is
but,
what. Go ahead, Bob.
well, it's having access. It's like
Yep.
Parents should parent
dad's
better.
got a gun and there's trouble at school or whatever, and
Mhm.
you just start losing your mind.
It is embarrassing, Bon. I agree. It is embarrassing. Globally, we are the Ricky Henderson stolen bases to everybody else's second place.
A lot of things with your country. I don't know what to do because you've got so many people
Yeah.
and those issues. So I can't blame. I just don't know what I'd do if I was trying to be a politician over there. How do you try and deal with that, and then deal with all this stuff with like Trump and stuff, with all these laws and the fact that he could possibly become president again, even while all this is going on over the next 6 months, he could be nominated as the president.
Turned out with all having like
You have all
felonies
these
after felony
rules
after,
and
it's
that
so
let
bizarre.
you
I know.
off in a lot of ways. It's scary, but your guns are difficult, and I don't know what I'd do if I was trying to be a politician in America because it's so part of your culture.
Bon,
So
I think Magneto agrees with you.
You Homo sapiens and your guns.
oh wow,
One of my favorite clips in all the movies. It really hit
video
me too.
drops. I like that.
How does it sound on audio when you do a video drop? Let's hear. Is this
That
too soft?
sound.
You Homo sapiens and your guns.
Yeah, it works.
You Homo sapiens and your guns.
One of my favorite lines in movie history. One of the most underrated lines in movie history. It really hit me. It really, really registered with me. Welcome, you Pell. I see you over there. Thank you, Pell, and all your great support in every way, shape, and form. Nice. France, most deadly public homicide in recent history. About 80 people dead in 3 seconds in a weapon truck.
Yeah,
Depp,
it
Depp's
doesn't
always
get
good.
much coverage over here.
Sarah
Since it doesn't
G.
fit the
Canada
narrative.
says, lots of people have guns and don't shoot people. Lots of people in Canada, by the way. No shootings. What do you say to
Lots
that?
of guns in Canada, not a lot
Will
of
you just
shootings.
admit we have a gun problem? How about this? You have the gun and nobody else in the country does. Just you. Just you're the only one. You and Anthony Cumia are the only ones armed. How about that? And nobody
Okay,
else has a
what's
gun.
your point?
You're the only one responsible enough to handle a gun. Everybody else is irresponsible. You, Liz Cheney, are the only ones to have a gun.
Well, the difference is my parents paid attention to whatever mental illnesses I may have displayed as a child. They encouraged me to discuss things with them that that was happening in school, potential bullying. I had
Mm.
outlets. I
Yeah.
was also fearful of my father that he would beat the shit out of me if I ever touched one of his guns, and they were locked up. I
You're
had no access to a key.
you're
See there.
from
There you
yeah.
go.
You're an outlier. You're an outlier.
Yeah.
You're raised well and responsible. This
Maybe that's the
and yeah,
problem.
you're an out. Don't compare everybody to yourself. Not everyone's as psychologically together as you.
Mm.
It's not
A lot
fair.
of parents have the gun in a cabinet showing it
Yes.
off, and the kid could just break the glass and get the gun out or whatever. Who knows? I don't know.
My father was a marksman in the National
No
Guard
shit.
with
Really?
awards. Yeah, like medals and awards and stuff. And it's all like in a no guns in the house. Not one.
Yeah, yeah.
Not one.
We had
He
an
just
entire
knew.
case full of guns.
He just was like, nope, I'm not bringing it into that. He just knew that what good could come out of it. And it was a pretty safe neighborhood. I mean, Sable's not exactly Central Islip in 1978, but nevertheless, he just knew there's no good can come from having a gun in the house.
A
And with my
marksman.
hand-to-hand combat
Wow.
skills, who's gonna come into that house, right?
Yeah, exactly. And your basketball skills.
You're
No one's
right,
gonna
right.
try to play
Boxing
basketball
out.
with you either.
I would box the home invasion out of the house with my rebound.
So he was a sniper, marksman sniper.
I don't know what is. He
Similar-
didn't. He just. They had rifle training and awards, and he won. He's a great he's all sports in him. It's all like hand to eye coordination. So he's a great pool player, pitcher, horseshoes, golf, all that stuff. When the pure athleticism is not quite quarterback, anything that's hand to eye coordination. And so I guess guns is and he's just very steady Eddie and great golfer. So anything that requires aim, he's great at.
Mhm.
Pool.
Wow. That's interesting. I didn't
Yeah.
know that. Yeah, that's interesting to know. Very cool.
Oh, we got Subi Sue. She's always 21 Jump Street. 90210 is still good. Johnny Depp is always fired to me. Sue, did you get Subi Sue 70? Did you get my comparisons about Jump Street and 90210? How it's a knockoff show in a way that Brandon is Hanson and they took Hanson's Mustang and Brandon's driving around in that. And it's essentially Penhall and Hanson are Brandon and Steve. Dylan is Greco. It's the plots. There's all writers from Jump Street that work on 90210, so they knock off their plots all the time. I catch it all the time. A lot of crossover guest actors. So I
Did you
hope
miss
anyone
Ida?
that,
Sorry, I
which-
thought you were done.
no, it's okay. Where's Ida Greenbacks? Where's she?
Ida, yes, thank you, Ida.
Did I not say her? Where
You
is she?
skipped over her, I believe.
I did not. I was going to it. I just
Okay, great.
Josh Foster says, and Dennis Miller wants me to do a impression of Dennis Miller. Christ's sake, I'm in a more precarious position than an underoos, wearing Rico Brania, locked in rundown with Jerry Sandusky, for Christ's sake. What's great about the Sandusky reference is Dennis Miller is actually from Castle Shannon. He's from where Beth is from, Pittsburgh, Castle Shannon, and it's just a perfect way to cross them over. G. Candace, what are you talking about, Arm? All those calls were mine. Depression hotline for Dennis. I know that was you. Look at this guy taking. I didn't know that was you. Like I did. Okay, G. Canada, you want everything that's ever funny ever in the history of the internet? G. Canada did. How about that? You get credit for everything. We really want Jump Street watch along sit-ins. Bon Jovial.
Oh yes.
You are welcome too. Do you want to sit in with Kathy
Yes.
Scott because it's the return of Waxer, and you were on the pilot with us.
I love to. I had a lot of fun. So I don't know. I was watching just to promote your Patreon. I was watching your recent BYOB episode of 90210. That was fantastic.
Thank you, Bon. Thank you.
Get
very
onto
much.
Patreon if anyone's listening and hasn't. And I love what you've done, John. You've managed to sneakily take your concept from the past, which was to have the 17 Squabble Lane channel, and you've merged that kind of content into the Patreon as well. So if everyone loves Stern, that's all I'll say. You get more than just Depp or stuff
Yeah,
like
because it's such a crossover, right? I
90210.
mean,
Yes.
and did you hear what the Gary thing I'm working on right now? It's just I wish I could do it faster. I'm doing it in real time, so I'm going through every bit of audio for from three. When you don't do it, when you do it in real time, it just takes so much longer. And I'm screen recording the audio, so it's an MP4, and I don't
Mhm.
have to record. I don't have to convert it, and I'm combining it with the unedited video roast. So
Wow.
I
Good
got I got a
work.
great clip of Mutt admitting that there was a Beth gag order on the Superfan Roundtable,
That sounds great. Is that going to
which
come on
when
Radio
he
Gunk?
yeah, I'm going to show this to Monique because he told Monique that I wrote them Mutt a question because he banned everybody when the Gary's dad's funeral and Beth faked it and threw herself down the stairs, and so I said he banned everybody from the site, the old Stern Fan Network, because anything negative Beth, and he denied it on there. And I'm going to show he admits it here. This is like 2006.
Yeah, and the interview you did and Monique did with him, he had said something about that. I can send you that interview as well if you want.
Yes. I
Because
think Monique still doesn't know where it is.
he said he felt that Howard wanted him to shut it down, and so he just did that. And
Yep.
I think he said he regrets it now. He should have sold it. He could have sold it for a shitload of money.
Apparently, it's 7 figures.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sarah was
I
on
don't
that.
know.
Sarah was on Stern Fan Network, weren't you, Sarah?
I would have loved to have been on it back then.
Yeah, I was
It
rabbit
was
squirrel.
it was wild. You were rabid squirrel.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit! I didn't know that was you.
Yes, you did because you
were
flirted with me on there.
No, I didn't. No, I
Oh,
didn't.
hello.
Everyone flirts with you.
Oh, you like the Trailblazers too, and 21 Jump Street? Oh,
Is that what I said? I know I said that on Dog Shed.
you
But
also
that
referred to
wasn't.
me as your Pacific Northwest wife.
Did I say that?
Yes, you did.
Oh, that's
Jesus
so cute. I mean,
Christ.
I've flirted with Arm on Radio Gunk all the time.
I know we
I
flirt all
mean,
the time.
I love him. It's just
Scissoring with
God,
David.
God. Yeah.
Thank you, Barbara DeRush. You are amazing too, Babs. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone in general. Texaho loves James Dean, of course, Sarah. So she's looking forward to that when you finish that. I'm looking forward to it
Good. I
too.
found a lot of good stuff to put in there, so I'm very happy with it so far.
Thank you again, Ida Greenbacks. Terrible storms here. No,
Safe.
that reminds me of that Jefferson Starship video. That's your inspired, right? Storms like the will in your eye, Sarah.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Johnny Meyer, we would love to have you sit in on a 902. He said he was an extra on 90210.
Get him on.
Get him
my
on,
God.
Ed
right?
Wood. He was an
And
extra on Ed.
and 90210, both.
Oh, all right.
Oh my
Down.
God! You don't need to do an actual watch through. Just interview him for a couple of hours, because to hear all the stories about that kind of stuff would be fantastic.
Johnny, I assume you're just like a very regular working extra bit part actor, and I mean that in the best possible way. You must have a book in you, I bet. I bet you could write a great book. I don't know if you have an NDA on you. I would love to read just the life of an extra / bit part actor.
This is I want to know like how they come in, the intake, like how they're briefed before they go on set.
Yes.
About how to behave. I want to know everything.
How long
I want
the
to know how
day
much
is.
they're paid, who they report to, if they're allowed to even go near the director, anything like that. If they're told don't talk to actors, I want to know everything.
How long the day is.
Yeah.
Right. Is there one set price, or does the budget dictate how much money they make?
That's just the SAG screen, the Actors Guild wages. Like if you've been in a few shows, you get a certain wage. If you have a speaking line, you get a different wage. It just goes up and up and up. But it's all by the hour, I think. But you're making great money. But imagine the extras in the stuff we've been watching, like on 21 Jump Street, where they're just sitting in the background eating dinner in the diner or something.
I say this to Sarah
must
all
be
the time.
so
Vaughn.
boring as an actor. You You got nothing.
Do you know how easy it would be to get one of them on to talk about their experience? Like only psychos like me look at the credits and connect the names to who they are. Like just somebody. I mean, most of these people like haven't worked in 25 years.
Yeah,
Could you imagine just like how easy that would be? I don't know
there
why
has
we're not doing that.
there has to. I'm going to look it up while we're talking. There has to have been a Reddit Ask Me Anything for these kind of people. I'll just have a look now. Like
Yes. Thank you,
extra
David C.
actor.
David C is actually a, did he say Leavenworth correctional officer? That's a guy who we need to sit in if he would too. For one of, I was gonna ask him for Don't Stretch the Rainbow, because it's like a lot of it's the racial tension of it. I want to know his take on how that show handled it. It was very ahead of its time. The N word is dropped in this episode. I think 15 times. And this is Fox,
Oh wow!
early 88, late 87. It was I remember being like a teenager going, "What? You can't say that." And this is the chances Fox took. At the end of the episode, Depp walks in. He makes pretend Holly Robinson's his girlfriend, and this actor who's like 30 years. He's the oldest high school student I think on the entire history of the show. His name is Hal Havens. I looked the actor's name up, and he screams N-word lover at Depp as he's walking back into the high school with Holly Robinson, right to his face. Like right,
Mm.
it's so, for that time, it was crazy. Kylo Sierra Alpha, welcome, sir. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, Kylo had a great addendum, that Rob Zombie thing. I'm gonna next Gunk. I'm gonna play that the follow up with Ralph and Rob Zombie at the party, because I didn't realize it got physical. That he got physical with him. That completely forgot about that. Ralph
Well,
got
I found
physical.
it.
Okay.
There's an Ask Me Anything on Reddit. I'm a professional extra actor. Ask Me Anything. I've been working off and on as an extra in movies and TV for the last 5 years. It's interesting how it pays the bills. I've worked on major Hollywood films, major TV networks. So there is a whole thing here, and I'll just scan through that while we continue to see if there's
While you do
anything.
that, Johnny Meyer's throwing some stuff at us, and I knew that 90210 was shot at Torrance High School, and he references here we filmed at an old porn theater in Torrance. I guess that's Ed Wood. But isn't 902? I guess he must live in that area, because 90210 was shot at Torrance High School.
There's something about 90210 filming close to a porn theater.
Okay.
I don't know if he's talking about the same one. I'm not sure.
Then Johnny Meyer writes, Tim Burton cut down a stop sign for a shot. I have a lot more. Wow. I have a lot
See,
more
this is what
stories.
I want. This is what I want. They can do
That's-
anything, these directors in these movies. They go, yeah, get rid of the stop sign. They just cut it down. They got the town council says, do whatever you want.
But isn't that what like Ed Wood
Isn't that
himself
great?
would do, Bond? Like Ed Wood would say,
Oh,
he wouldn't
yeah.
have a permit. He would just cut a stop sign down and
Oh,
shoot anyway
God, yeah.
in black and white.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Barbara DeRush says, dealing with anxiety, my day starts when it gets dark out. Day is over, no pressure. Yeah, I think that might be my attitude too, Babs. But Bon Jovial brilliantly said that the world slows down. I've never heard anyone put it that way. Did you make that up?
I
'Cause
did,
it's
yeah.
very poetic.
I used to love it. Like
Make a
young
T-shirt out of that. The world slows down at 3 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, that's an album name. Yeah.
Texaho, we're in love with you too. I'm theoretically in love with Arm. I expect he has a lady arm. Mrs. Arm, if you're nasty. Texaho has not taken a shot at the millennials yet, and I'm waiting for that. That was always great during the Depp streaming, as she would. He just knew a millennial bashing was coming. Really, she's almost a savant for it. She could work millennial into everything. Yeah, he likes the bat dance, Johnny Meyer.
Oh, my Lord.
Johnny, where in Ed Wood are you? I've seen the movie 1,000 times. It's like literally I guess it's my third favorite Depp movie. I mean, they're all my kids to me, but Donnie Brasco's one. Ed Wood is right. It's got to be my top 5. Brasco is 1. Number 2, I go back and forth with all the time. You can't count Platoon. He's in it for 5 minutes, right? You can't do that. You can't, it's got to be him carrying the movie. I might go with Black Mass. I'm big into the crime biopics for him. In terms, might be Blow. Maybe Blow is my second favorite after Brasco. That's a good choice, right?
These are iconic movies. These golden.
I love City of Lies. I don't. Did you see it yet, Bon?
I have not, unless I have and I can't remember. Hold on, I'll just look up the poster and see if I
I'm a
can
bottom
remember
bitch,
that.
and Bon Jovial is the side piece. Speaking of side pieces, we got Rochelle Hathaway coming up later, and Bon Jovial's here. We're gonna do. We're gonna get back to that uh, dog smuggling thing in Australia. Where is that at now? The Amber Heard
Oh
dog smuggling thing.
gosh,
It just vanished. All of it just vanished. We like to burn books, says Hooper.
I did watch City of Lies, but I thought it was just became a bit boring. It was all too
Do
weird.
you know the Tupac Biggie stuff? It got better each time. Welcome, Gina Bobina. Welcome. I see you there. Is that a corn? Good to see you. Good to see you. And your Bulbulians in our chat and everyone else's chat, by the way. She's so ubiquitous in terms of you see her in the Opie chat. I'll get to Opie later. And Opie, one of my aspirations and radio and in his chats is I'm going to get him to book both Doug Stanhope and Damian Eccles from West Memphis 3 because he's friends with both of them.
Oh,
And I want an update on Depp from them. Not from
oh
him,
wow.
not from an article. I want them from their mouth. I want an update, what he's really doing. And I think both Stanhope and Eccles might give us one.
I would love that.
That's what I'm trying to do on his chat next. Outside of Howard, that's my next motivation. And just to get him to say, "Wino forever, the Deppening." Nice, France. Most deadly public comments. I said that already, right? Pellel, welcome. Thank you, sir. Cindy Lou Who, welcome. Good to see you, as always, as usual. Hooper, first marijuana shop just opened in Schenectady. Jesus Christ. How long have you had legal marijuana, Sarah?
Since an election or two ago. I think we were the first state to make it completely legal,
I thought
along with
Colorado might have
possession, which
been.
has ruined the state.
I thought Colorado might have been.
Wasn't that medicinal?
Maybe. I thought it was the same thing.
No, but you can possess drugs in Oregon now too, and that's why the state's rotting.
G. Canner, do you want to hear something? Even with it legal and some, I still don't know how to buy it. I still don't have no idea how to buy it. I never
I don't
have.
either, and I don't care.
Gina Bobina. Who's that Bon Jovial with the hot accent? Too cold for shootings. That's true. The worse the weather is, like the less shooting it's gonna. That's a good point. I never thought of that. The more hideous the weather is, the less shootings is going to be. That's a great point. I have plenty of guns, and you see, Kathy Scott probably could give my dad a run for on the rifle range, and possibly even Rochelle Hathaway.
Good
on
for
the
you,
rifle.
Kathy, by the way.
Yes, if you can trust anyone, it's her.
Women need guns.
Go to any Republican state, says Hooper, and you could just buy a gun at any flea market. That's responsible.
Wow,
That's responsible.
really?
Yes.
Oh,
The pro-life Republicans and all their great stances on.
I was thinking of getting one because I love, because I was raised on Hollywood movies. I just obsessed with guns, like Terminator movies and all that.
What a
But
great
to get
segue.
one here is an absolute pain in the ass. You have to have a safe that's built into your wardrobe or wherever, that's drilled like with bolts, and
Yes.
they come and check, and you can't. You have to have the ammo has to be kept separate. You have to be part of a gun club, which is probably the same in America. But you have to go shooting like once a month.
As you should.
Or
You should have to
can't
keep
own
it
the
up.
gun.
Definitely.
Yeah,
That's how it always should have been. Right. That's what they should do here all the time. You can't just like a driver's license. I think they should test people on the road again. You know
Oh
how
yeah.
once you never get tested again unless you
Oh
get
fuck! If I got tested now, I'd be scared to do.
I
3
can't
point
parallel park
park.
anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'd
can't
be
do
like,
that.
oh my god, it's like I'm right back when I was a kid again. I'd be like, fuck. And I barely got my license. I almost like backed into another car because I almost I had to do a roll. I can't remember what it was. I had to stop and use handbrake.
Yeah,
instead
hand
of
signals, right? Going out
at the
window.
traffic lights, and I don't know why, but the car slowly started moving backwards. I don't know why. I guess I was driving manual, so I had to, put it
Oh,
in
that's got to
neutral.
be hell. Taking a driver's test in a stick shift. It's got to be
Oh well,
horrible.
I didn't back then. This is 2000. I would never have just got an automatic license. I was like, and I've heard you talk about driving on here
Yeah,
before.
yeah,
I
yeah.
was
You
like,
can't.
I want to know how to drive a car. And that's manual, not automatic. That's not
Right,
driving. You just need to
right.
know the road rules. Driving manual's fantastic feeling. Like
If
I wouldn't drive a manual now. I'd drive an automatic. But back then it was like, oh, I love it. I'm driving the car.
the
You know?
problem with the stick shift is if you injure yourself in any way, you can't drive. If you fuck up, something happens to your left foot, something happens to your right hand. How would you shift? How would you possibly you know what I mean? Like that could you could
Yeah,
injure
yeah,
yourself
yeah.
at any point, so you can't drive if anything happens to your left foot or right hand. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's out. You can't
extreme
shift.
situation, but you could still use your right hand, say, to reach over to go through the gears to get it to just third gear, and you'd cruise
I
in
need my
third
right
or
hand for something else, if you know what I mean.
hello,
It's just
hello.
stupid.
Can he say that?
Arms, hands are registered as lethal weapons, and then Brendan goes. That's Cindy Lou who said that. Brendan goes, the gun show. The only guns in your house are the two arms. The gun show, yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
There's the
he's
funniest ironic shirt is "Welcome to the Gun Show," and someone like Billy Corgan's wearing a shirt with skinny fat. It says "Welcome to the Gun Show." I don't know why it gets me every time. Sarah is Italian, right? Sarah, you're not Italian, right? Gino Bobino
No,
wants to know. You are Irish and
I am French, Irish, German. I am 99, and I'm just looking at my 23andMe yesterday again because I like to look at it for some reason. But 99.5% white, so I am the most boring mayonnaise person on the planet.
aren't you like Depp and claim to have like a 125th Cherokee in you?
No, I am 0.04% North African.
Okay.
So I'm
Speaking of
oh
North African,
my.
Crazy Robin, welcome our newbie and
quite
princess.
ethnic.
that's
Yeah, let's not talk
that's
about guns. It's boring
you
because
and
it's like talking
fucking
to a wall with you.
you and Charlize Theron. Oh, I'm sorry, Sarah. I should have a whole arsenal like the Punisher in my basement.
Well, you know,
Right, just shoot everything in sight.
you
I
get
don't need a gun.
talking points from MSNBC. So
yes. Joe Scarborough and Rachel Maddow tell
you
me
do.
they
I don't
mold
discuss
my opinions.
politics with
I
you.
can't think for myself. I can't possibly think for myself.
Wow.
Well.
Intense.
That's quite a compliment. How many guns have I owned in my life? Why would I change my stance? Why would I get one now at this point? I got through how many years not owning a gun,
Let's move
relying
on.
on my wits and my fists.
Yeah, I don't know. If I
Why
lived
would I need
there,
one
I
now?
might actually want one because it's kind of scary.
Are you afraid of your own shadow that you can't go to 7-Eleven without a gun? Right, Magneto? Right, Magneto?
No, but I would like to be able to go for a walk again without having the fear that I'm going to be raped.
You Homo sapiens and your guns.
Sarah, my idea with the FBI windbreaker. I don't know why you don't get one.
Come
It
on,
would
let's
solve
go.
all your
Come on.
problems.
I
Just
love
throw
this
an
idea.
FBI
Round in
windbreaker on.
circles.
Oh my
I
God.
can't remember if when you were talking about it when I was on a while ago and I looked it up. Your concept is perfect, but it's actually illegal for an
It's probably
FBI
illegal,
person
but
to
who cares?
wear it unless they're on official business. But as I said, I think back then, it's a damn good deterrent. Yes, and people don't know that, so someone might see that. I would do that if I was a chick.
Oh God, could you imagine going to court over that? Like she's like, okay, there's this crazy rapist in the woods, and I threw my FBI windbreaker on and he ran away. And you think they'd convict her after that?
No,
Like, of course not. Of course
and you could
not.
sell the story to make a movie.
How about this, Sarah? Bring it
they'd love
with
that.
you in a bag. Bring it with you in a bag. And then if you see any shady character, throw it on. Throw your FBI windbreaker on. I guarantee they'll leave you alone.
Mm-hmm.
I'll buy it for Sarah.
I know.
If that's the deal, if I'll donate if Sarah agrees to buy it and take a photo in it or something with obviously with her head chopped off or something because she's very secretive. She could wrap it around a cat for some photos. That'd be great.
What was the acronym joke that Depp had in Once Upon a Time in Mexico when his character Agent Sands was wearing all these Florida gimmick shirts? FBI was something body inspector. What's the F stand for? Is it federal or is it
federal? Yeah, yep.
It's full.
Full. Thank you, Sarah. Full. Sarah's got that shirt. Full body inspector. That's right. And I think he had
that's
that,
good.
and that's the joke shirt on that. and he said, "I'm with stupid," and it's a arrow pointing down to his schwanz.
Oh, I
That was
like
that.
it. I like they're mixing it up. Yeah.
It was he was allowed to do that because back then, and I don't know if you Depp heads that are in here remember this, when Depp was really on a roll. I mean, right after Pirates, they were airdropping him into movies to do whatever he wanted. It would just be like from, I mean, actually, before Nightfalls is before Pirates, but he was Once Upon a Time in Mexico. They just let him, and he would like shock a lot. He'd be the best thing in every movie, and they called it Depp charging a movie. So they'd airdrop him into a movie. He would do whatever he wants. He might even write his own lines, and then he would. So in Once Upon a Time in Mexico, his idea was, I'm going to play a CIA agent, and he's going to wear all these hacky Florida gimmick shirts with acronyms like that. Full body inspector, I'm with stupid, and point down. And somehow it worked. I mean, he stole that movie from Antonio Banderas like he's Winona Ryder at Barney's in 2001. I mean, it's like he didn't even exist in that movie, Banderas. Did you see that, Bond, Once Upon a Time in Mexico?
No, I didn't. I think is that had Benicio in it, didn't it?
No, believe it or not,
Benicio
he should have
del
been.
Toro.
He's in every other Rodriguez movie. He's not in that. That's bizarre. That's crazy you said that. That's part of the whole El Mariachi trilogy.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't. Now I'm remembering it all. Yeah, I didn't like that trilogy. He's a really interesting director who's like grassroots. He'll cut down the street sign without permission and all that. He's
Yes.
done crazy shit. Like he's written books about it. Like I think he made a book called it was something like guerrilla directing or something, where you use anything you can to make a movie, all that crap, you know. But no, I didn't see them because I didn't like that trilogy concept. I remember going, I don't want to get involved in this.
Watch the third one with Depp. Don't even care about the story, or just watch Depp. Just fast forward to
Oh, I
all his
will for
parts. Don't
sure.
even watch anything else.
I need to check
He's
the filmography of Depp to find the missing pieces that I haven't seen. And so does Sarah, of course, because she needs to see some of those classics.
I didn't know what pulled pork was until that movie. Because he's
Wow.
eating it with Antonio Banderas.
Wow.
I really didn't. He had a Clash of the Titans
Wow. I
lunchbox at the
love
table
this.
with that. Yeah, I swear to God, I didn't know what it was until
That
that
is
movie.
obscure. And I'm looking up at the stuff I was looking about professional extras, and there's one guy who was in the movie called Hall Pass with Jenna Fisher and Christina Applegate, and he's saying he was in Fast and Furious 5 as a extra, and he says it can be really exciting, really boring, depends on the scene. His favorite set was filming Hall Pass. They used the foyer of a massive Greek church for a party scene. Jenna Fisher and Christina Applegate are about 3 feet away from me for about an hour. I love that. And he was introduced to the Farrelly brothers, the directors on the
Yeah.
set. So as that's interesting. As an extra, you can kind of talk to those people. I guess he said they don't take your phones away. This is like 13 years ago. So he said they don't take your phones away, but they don't want you to use your phone to talk. But now it's probably majorly different. You probably
Oh God, yeah,
you
definitely.
probably have to turn off your phone and
Especially
show
with
them.
all the blackmail that's going on, with people are filming everybody, and you see it turn up and like, what? How did you get that? Or
Yeah.
Christian Bale yelling at direct. I guarantee you, that's way stricter now. You're right.
And he said extras fuck up a lot, and the crew know this, and usually they're quick to fix the problem before the director and other higher-ups get involved. You do get 2 classes of people that will get yelled at once in a while. The aspiring actors who take it upon themselves to walk into a scene no matter what direction they've been given as an extra, often looking at the camera.
Yeah,
And
it's understandable.
yeah, and those acting under the influence, we've had people drink, smoke, and get whacked out on coke while on set. If they're regulars, sometimes it's overlooked, but a few times people have been escorted off the set and told to leave. So
Here's my question: Has an extra ever ruined a movie that you should even care that much if they're not perfect in the background? Is that
No.
going to make or break your experience with the whole movie? I mean, you
No,
want
I've
it to look
never.
authentic, but it's not going to stop anyone from your bottom line, which is the box office, right? Is that really going to make or break a movie?
Oh no, that's like an album where a part of the drum kit's too loud. If it's a fucking great song, it's
Yeah.
gonna be fine, you know.
Yep.
You don't have to
Good
worry,
comparison.
you know. Yeah,
Good comparison.
that's so that's
Because
interesting. If
Sarah's obsessed with identifying the extras in 90210 in the background, trying too hard. She says, and this is funny, but they think they're going to be the next whatever, Jamie Walters or fucking Vincent. What's Elvis's name, Sarah? Vincent Young, the guy who looks
Yeah.
like Elvis.
hmm
Like they're just trying so hard in the back, and you could tell they're just like slam dancing, and they think like Darren Star, Aaron Spelling's gonna go, okay, you're in the main cast. We're gonna have you in the opening credits. God, we need you so bad. And that's what if they're trying to break into the biz, I guess, you may not get an opportunity like that again. You might as well go for it, right? When are you going to do that again?
And to what Gina just said about me sitting in front of the fireplace with a pipe, I actually quit cigarettes this week, and I'm
Did you
vaping
really?
now. Yeah, so I did substitute it with vaping, but I haven't had a cigarette for 48 hours, and I'm using the vape, and I do not think I'll ever need a cigarette again with the vape. The vape's fucking awesome.
That's I think Gina smokes too, doesn't she? Didn't she mention that once in a?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone
All
who
my best friends are
smokes,
smokers.
get
I'm not
off.
again. I just don't smoke. I don't. All my. I would have no friends in the '90s if I eliminated smokers. They're all, and look, the subject of this damn podcast is the biggest chain smoker on the face of the earth. Goes to Indian reservations and rolls his whole life is based on. He wants to have an all cigarette airline, for Christ's sake. So I can't. Cigarettes are a big part of my life, even though I'm a staunch non-smoker.
I've just been getting too scared. I remember with my friends when I was like 15, I was like, or 20, I was like, I'm going to quit by 30, and now I'm 44. So it's like, no. So I just realized the last few weeks I have to stop because the risk of cancer is so high when you smoke.
Did you ever see
constantly.
the exchange with Jonathan Ross and Depp when Jonathan? This is like I just know why you saw this. This is on VH1. They did a one-on-one interview show from the early. He was
No,
promoting,
I
I
wouldn't
think,
have seen
Gilbert
that.
Grape. I think he was
Uh-huh.
I think it was Gilbert Grape. And Jonathan Ross goes, "What is with you in the smoking?" He's like, "What? Explain to me. What is the big deal? What is with you in the cigarettes? I don't get it. Please explain to me what you get out of it." And Depp couldn't explain it to him. He's like, "I don't know. It's good. They're good. I don't know. I just don't. I don't know. It's a really burning sensation. I don't." And he couldn't explain it to him. And you got to see this exchange. It's like, what would you say? Does it give you like a little buzz or something?
Yeah, a little. It gives you
Okay.
great buzz. Yeah, that's the reason. And it strangely breaks up the whole day into segments. Like
Wow,
Depp,
I never heard anybody
yeah,
describe it like that.
like when Depp was in court, every break he would smoke, and he would smoke regardless if he wasn't in court. A lot more often, but probably every 20 minutes he probably smokes. But I'd smoke like every once an hour, and your whole day becomes, you can get through the day. That's the kind of thing. It's almost like you're looking forward to it. That's the cool thing
That's
about
pretty good. That's a pretty good
So
it gives you something to look forward to constantly throughout the day. It's like a new milestone to get to. Sarah, you're like the hot young thing at the office. By the way, Crazy Robin, that we love you too. That is such a kind compliment, and we have the best comment. We have the best people. We have the best immediate circle and fans in ours at the same time. Sarah, as the hot young thing at the office, what do you think about this debate about how smokers get extra breaks than the people who don't smoke because they go out for their 15 minutes and you don't smoke, so you don't, and then the non-smoker says, well, why do they get an extra hour break when I don't smoke and I'm getting penalized for not
it's 10
smoking?
cigarettes by
Yeah.
10 minutes. I wish I had that drop right now. Tell us, Sarah.
Yeah, what do you think? Liz, Cheney, Daria?
While
You
she
there?
collects her thoughts, I agree that it is bullshit, and it's 100% true in my opinion. You get breaks, especially if your boss smokes. You're going out with him, and you're
Yes,
hanging,
that's the key, is have your
and
boss smoke, right?
and so many manager type bosses, they all smoke because they're stressed out as fuck. So yeah, it's real. You'll get a break. You're not going to get a break unless if you don't smoke. Like,
Have you ever heard that debate in an office scenario, Bonnie?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah,
I've
you've been
worked in
part
an
of it.
office like that, and they understand. Inherently people understand that it's an addiction, so they go, yeah, go now, and all that, and you just do. Um, if I didn't smoke, I would have been absolutely pissed off, absolutely at all that
That's the way to
stuff.
qualify it, I guess, right? You're like, "Oh, it keeps me sane for this job, like it's psychologically keeps me sane."
I would just buy a pack, and when I'd just say, "Do you mind?" I'd just lie and pretend I smoke. I'd have a pack that I say, "Can I have a smoke?" And I'd go out and I wouldn't smoke it. Or if I went out with the boss, I'd just go, "Oh, I feel like I'm going to vomit. I won't have one for a few hours, but I still got my break." It's the only way I could. But
It
anyone addicted, switch to vaping because you get the hit. Like, holy shit, you get the
here's where I
nicotine
feel
hit.
sorry for you smokers because they don't make it easy to quit. How about this shit with this Nicorette gum locked away in a Fort Knox safe in these stores? It's $60 for a pack of gum. What the hell is that? How do they get
Well,
away with?
they get away with it by saying it's anything is cheaper than buying cigarettes. So
Oh,
if you,
so they say,
if
okay, one pack of Nicorette gum, you would bet you would spend that on cigarettes anyway.
that'll last you days, and
Okay.
you'll spend. Oh, I mean, here in Australia, the cigarettes are so expensive. We're talking $25 US for a pack of 20 Marlboros. I don't know
How?
what it is there,
Yeah,
but I'm not
well, I
making
think it's
you.
$10 a pack or something now.
There you go. Over
Yeah.
here, it's great. Like, I never liked the taste of the pre-rolled ones, so I use the loose tobacco, and that's significantly cheaper. And you can roll your own thickness. So if you just want a little hit, you don't have to do the whole thick cigarette. So you make them whatever mood you're in. But
Right.
for I've got friends who will only smoke tailor-made like Marlboros, so they're spending a fortune, and you're talking thousands a year, thousands of dollars, thousands.
It's yeah, I mean it's true when you add it up like that. It's like it's amazing it's how many years it took the non-smoker to finally have this epiphany and just be like, "Well, why are they getting an extra hour and I don't?" Like it took them years to think of that. I had not heard that until like I don't know, probably 10 years ago. Somebody finally uttered, "Why do they get all these breaks and just because they smoke and I don't?" It's like you could just so people started to fake that there was smokers just so they could have extra breaks even though they didn't
Yeah.
smoke.
And Zepp says nicotine gum is free for smokers in Quebec. Really?
That's how see, Canada's got it figured out. They always
Yeah,
have
that's
us
how it
beat and
should
never.
be.
That's
Yeah.
how it should be. David C asks Johnny Meyer, I think, have you ever been yelled at like Tom Cruise did to Artie on the set of Jerry Maguire, which Artie was not even that got cut out too. Whatever he did on Jerry Maguire was cut out. And he has that story about Tom Cruise yelling at him. And the
Oh, yeah,
Travolta
because
story with Jet Travolta getting yelled at.
because
Yep.
Artie talked to his kid. He was going to play had a baseball or something,
Yeah. Cameron
or a
Crowe
basketball.
likes Artie. Cameron Crowe and he kind of fought for him, and he couldn't do anything. Cruise had too much power at that point. I think Depp was the second choice for Jerry Maguire. By the way,
Oh,
I'd heard that.
oh.
I wouldn't mind seeing him do it. I would love to see him do a kind of a carrot sports agent movie like that, like modern
It,
time kind of thing, like Moneyball or something. I would love to see him do a movie like that. That's missing from his repertoire. That kind of thing.
yeah, think I've said before, any of those guys could do those movies.
Yep.
Matt Damon could have done
Very
that.
replaced. Right. Very
Ben Affleck could
interchangeable.
have done that, and he's not
Yep.
even that really good an
Definitely.
actor. It was still great with Tom Cruise. Fuck.
Johnny Meyer has tons of stories and they're very in depth. I cannot wait to hear him, Johnny. We got to set that up. I don't know what we do with Ed Wood because we can't play the movie here. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe we just do an Ed Wood kind of thing where we're not watching them and then we do the actual watch along on Patreon, but do other stuff around it here. It leads into it. You know what I mean? Like all the ancillary stuff and have Johnny Meyer on to talk about that. And then we do a watch along.
Do it.
I mean, Ed Wood. You love Ed Wood. Who doesn't love Ed Wood, right?
It was amazing. I remember I almost cried in it. It was so good. Like, it was so sad as well at the end, you know. I was just like, oh my God, this is beyond art. This is
Thi-
so.
This is Brendan. This is for you, The Astronaut's Wife, which I've seen 8. Ed Wood. I think I accounted for 50% of the box office take in the United States when it came out. I'm amazed how retroactively popular it is because no one fucking saw it when it came out. The theaters
Yeah.
I was in it was beer league empty. It was me and my friend or me alone. I saw it. I must have seen it 8 times. 10, maybe 10 times when it came out. And it was playing
It,
like one out of like say like a huge movie. It was probably playing one out of whatever huge movie was at the time. It was like 1/5 of the theaters. It
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
playing everywhere.
Here it only played at what we call like art house theaters, cinemas that hold like, 200, 300 people. It wasn't in your, or probably less than that actually, but it wasn't in like your big cinema that you see Mission Impossible movies in. It was in much smaller ones. It didn't get, but it was fucking awesome. But it's a hard movie because you've got to get people who'd never heard of Ed Wood, you've got to try and show them that in the trailer, who he was,
Yeah.
and black and white. There's some people who just don't want to
Didn't
see
That's a good
it,
point.
and
Right. It's just
it's
like, what
so
are we looking
stupid.
at? People weren't ready for it. Right. That's so true. And it was like an independent deluge of movies at that time. And people just it was like, he did Dead Man was black and white too. That was like a very
Yes, and that's
Jim
an amazing
Jarmusch.
movie.
How many black and white movies does Jim Jarmusch have? A bunch, right?
Hmm.
Crazy Robin, Sanford and Son. Did they use the N word on that? I thought they teased it, but never. That's crazy. Good Times use the N word too. God, I don't remember that. I mean, I watched those shows like everybody else did. I don't remember them. I know they would dance around it, but they actually blatantly said it. That's crazy.
I
Johnny
hate
Martin,
it. It's crazy. It's
correct.
so
Torrance
weird.
High School. Yep, I was right. Thank you, Sue. Remember the show made me. I love what Johnny chose to do with his career. Yep, and he needs to get back to some of those crime biopics, Subi. So that's why I liked City of Lies so much. I want to pick the scripts for him. He's got to cut out the certain genres. I want to cut the period pieces out, the Victorian period pieces. He's got to take a break from Tim Burton now, unless we're going to do
Yeah,
another Ed Wood. Just all
that
the
got too much a
get away from
long time
Disney.
ago.
Yep,
Yeah, yeah.
get away from Disney. That's why I was happy when Disney fired him. Like, good, 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 good,
Oh
good.
yeah, I didn't want him doing anything. I never wanted him to do that at all. I thought that was. I can't believe I saw that at the cinema. That Pirates, and I left that cinema just going. That was garbage. What a waste of money, and I refused to see any more of that crap.
Johnny
He needs to
Meyer was an
get
extra
back.
in City of Lies too. Are you kidding me? This guy is a
See, you got to get him on. Oh my god, you could talk to him
oh
for
my
half an
god.
hour just
I
about that
know. We
movie,
might
John.
have to just make it his extras thing
It's good. Yeah.
instead of just Ed Wood. Just turn it into like a Johnny Bye Bye extra
I could
show.
ask so many questions to someone, an extra, just sitting there. If he was on like right now, I could just go through so much. It would be so. I regret not getting into that when I was younger, becoming an extra, because I would have loved being on a movie set, seeing all the sound and the lighting and everything. It must be absolutely. I would have not been bored. I would have always been looking around at everything they're setting up, especially the cameras on. They put down they lay those train tracks down, and the camera moves along on that and everything. I just it's so fascinating.
I'm I'm thinking that's just a whole show. City of Lies. People don't. It's not for everybody, but if you know that Biggie stuff, it's got better every time I watch it because it's very layered. And I'm watching a show right now on one of the streaming with Forrest Whitaker called Godfather of Harlem, and it's the battle of the black people in Harlem in the 60s versus the Italian mafia, and they're trying to like who's divvying up Harlem, and the Italian mafia wants to take over Harlem, and Forrest Whitaker's crew will not let them. It's really good, and
Yeah,
Forrest
that
Whitaker
sounds
is the
good.
co-star in City of Lies, and so it's a very Depp adjacent movie. Vincent D'Onofrio plays the Italian mob leader on the other side, who's
A
a great
great
actor.
actor.
He's
God, I
really
love
good.
him. Yeah. Oh,
He's such a good character actor that he can't like he can't be the lead on a movie because he's such a chameleon you wouldn't even know. Like, has Vincent D'Onofrio ever been the lead in a movie? He's
I
so
know. Yeah, you're right.
you know what I mean?
I'll do a check now, but I get your point though. The moment I think about him, I just think supporting actor.
I mean, I guess he could be. You know, he could be. I mean, he could be if you I think he's so talented that he's got a cult following among like real sort of film nerds who know what he does and appreciate what he does that would show up. But I
Yeah,
don't think
yeah.
it could sway the box office though. He's so brilliant. I don't know if you know the character Kingpin in Daredevil in Marvel Comics. He
No.
plays him in the he's the Kingpin now in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He played it is I never thought anybody could do that on screen and make it like Michael Clark Duncan played it in the Ben Affleck movie, and it was like, all right, he did as good a job as he could, but they blackwashed him, and it was very just like you couldn't. But he is perfect as Wilson Fisk in Daredevil. I cannot tell you how good he is. How he didn't win an Emmy, I have no idea. It's
hmm
so good.
His career is outstanding.
Yeah, it would be
He's
fun to
just,
look at his IMDb someday and go through the whole thing.
I'm looking at his filmography now. He's just a veteran. Jesus,
I
fucking
got called a
hell.
freaky deek by Crazy Rob. I'll take that as a compliment. I haven't heard that in so long. The tension's awesome. This is pretty captivating discussion. I'm so behind. All right, so we have Bon Jovial here, and I didn't really plan this until today, and because this occurred to me. And here's Sarah's back. Sarah, you with us?
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear our conversation about the office and smoking?
Yep.
hmm
Any controversies at your office with the
No,
cigarettes?
do what you want. I don't care. I still got to do my job.
That's what you say?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want an extra break or you don't care?
No, I don't care.
Barbara
Really?
Drush has Hornet spray in her
Mm.
car. She sprays Larry Johnson and Alonzo Mourning with spray. And who's their big star now? Would you say it's Ball or Terry Rozier? I would say Ball is. Criminals can't read FBI, so that would mean nothing to them. Oh, come on, Brendan. That's such a great deterrent. They dropped into a Ricky Gervais show. That Ricky Gervais is. That's
He's a
gonna be a whole
genius.
episode. He really is such a. You talk about a guy who doesn't give a shit. Like, you know how some guys claim I don't care about the cancel culture, and he doesn't give a shit.
Oh, he's amazing.
He looks
He's
right
so
into it.
fucking
Right into it.
talented to create The Office. That's
He
just
does not care.
unbelievable.
How much money do you think he made off The Office?
Oh, probably $100 million. He made so much money off the DVD sales. The DVD sales, like the year it came out, just for Australia, it was the highest selling DVD in Australia the year it came out. So that's chicken shit because we're small, but it was probably sold tons in America the first year. He loaded and so much power. It's funny because he's such a
He doesn't like the
eccentric
American version,
prick.
Bon?
Oh no, he produced it.
Yeah, I didn't know it. Was he involved creatively on it, or he just put his name on it?
No, he went. The first season of the American Office was basically the first season of the UK Office. The stories were the same. The second season onward, they started writing new stories. So the first season, he was probably very involved. Like he was probably there on set a lot and all that.
I had a greenback spawn. I don't know if you saw this. Maybe you did. Sarah, did anyone ever see Project Greenlight?
No, I haven't.
No,
It's a Ben Affleck, Matt Damon produced show where they had you both could be on this, like new filmmakers, and they would submit their film and they would have a film festival. Ida Greenbacks was the teacher to remember Pete Jones. He won the first contest. Does anybody remember
it's
this?
a TV show. I'm looking it up now. I've
This
never
just
heard
hits
of
me
it.
now. So Hall Pass, I guess, was the other movie, but the thing he did for them was different. But that's the guy, right, Ida? Pete Jones is on Project Greenlight. I feel like the year was like 2002 or
It's
2001.
2001, yeah.
Okay.
And they did 4 seasons. I've just looked it up. I had no clue, but 2001, 2003, 2005, and 2015 it came back.
Johnny Meyer was
interesting.
in Ace
I will
Ventura.
watch this.
Do you see that?
Wow.
Johnny Meyer was in Ace Ventura. I told you that Dennis Miller's brother Jimmy is Jim Carrey's manager. I guarantee you he was all over that movie with Johnny Meyer. That would have been great.
Mm-hmm.
For Christ's sake, this Johnny Meyer's more ubiquitous than the Jesus twins over there, huh? This dude's got stories. It's crazy. Sarah, what do you say we have Johnny Meyer on next week and pick his
Get
brain?
the man on.
Right?
Sounds good to me.
Oh my God. Sue said, love you lots. Hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Much love. Oh, okay. Sue, come back. Please come back. If not tonight, we love having you on. Thank you for stopping by at all. So, Australia, Barnaby Jones, gun smuggling. We have Bon Jovial on. I didn't decide I was going to do this until I knew and I thought about this. So, where are we at with Barnaby Jones and this current thing with the dog smuggling? It seemed to have all disappeared after the Fairfax trial.
I thought it had.
Celebrity
I'm
dogs
looking it all up now. I haven't heard.
I want your take on all this and the rules there and the dog smuggling. I mean, you know this story, right, with Amber Heard.
Oh, yeah, this was huge. This was hilarious. I loved the story.
If you read the transcripts, now, Sarah, correct me if I'm wrong. I might have. Amber Heard basically forced Depp to smuggle these dogs in. He eventually said no. His people, managers, assistants, whatever, don't do it. It's not worth it. It's too much pain in the ass. Just leave them here. We have so many assistants. She then went against it and snuck them in. Then he had to cover for her when it got caught.
That's what happened.
I think that's exactly what happened. And so it started this international feud with. What's your take on Barnaby Jones, man? What do we not know about him here in America?
He's
crazy.
Not the best person. He's all over the news here all the time.
He likes to be in the news. Okay.
Yeah, he's it's just a dickhead. A lot of them are, but I mean,
he has bad optics here. I think you can tell he's a dickhead. Just when you know he's trying too hard. And again, I mean, I'm not saying he loved the attention from this, and he comes right at it. He's a weird cat.
And Boo sparked a war on terriers after their then owners, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, smuggled them into Australia.
Mr. Depp has to either take his dogs back to California or we're going to have to euthanize.
Well, now, in a new, just incredible twist, actress Amber Heard seems determined to have the last laugh with a taunt to Barnaby Joyce, who threatened to have her pets put down.
Barnaby Joyce Heard, don't you scratch that glass one more time. I will hurt you.
The Deputy Prime Minister...
Was Whitney with her in that, Sarah?
I don't know if Whitney's there. I can't see.
I thought I heard her in the background.
Mr. Barnaby Joyce joins us now. We've been waiting for this interview all morning. Barnaby, what is your reaction to this? What an honour.
I tell you what, it's a big dog, so I hope it's toilet trained. But away from that, it's it's lovable. I'm sure that she hugs it every night and it'd frolic around. But I bet you if you came into a house without permission, it'd bite you. And that's basically the issue. I can't work it out. I'd forgotten about her. She was out of my mind.
Do you believe for a second he forgot about her and Depp, and there's no way he forgot about it? I don't care how busy he is. He's so synonymous with that.
Out of my mind. But I'm in her mind. I'm in there like a bee. I'm just buzzing around her brain, making bee words. Barbie, now she's naming a dog after me. She'll name a horse after me. I don't know, I'm flattered. Good on you, Amber. I love you too. Good on you.
I love that she didn't stop at Barnaby. She went all the way to Barnaby Joyce just to make sure that we all knew exactly what she was intending here. Are you surprised, though? Are you surprised that it's left such a big impression?
I think it's kind of crazy. That's what I think. It's kind of crazy. Mind you, there's still the question about perjury for her and Johnny. There's still a big question about that. They've got some questions to answer. But what I love is Barnaby Joyce, as if there's another Barnaby who is in her ear. Maybe she named it after St. Barnabas the Apostle, or I don't know, Barnaby Rudge from Dickens. But I think she just had to say Barnaby. But, That's IQ, isn't it?
We will get to serious news in a moment, but do you look back on that video 6 years ago and think how hilarious that you actually made them make a video for border security to apologise?
I forgot to include that them apologizing. I was supposed to get I knew I forgot something. It was something thing was sitting in my head, and I had that thing like, what did I forget? What did I forget? I thought I had it. Yeah, I mean, we don't have to watch it. You all saw it.
I'll get it now. I'll get it now.
Can you get it now?
Yeah, I'll just put it in the.
Thank you, Bon.
I'll put it in the private chat.
Guys?
It'll be. Yeah.
They look like two terrorists in a basement in Lebanon. It was, mate, they were.
Is there anything better than the cameraman laughing in the background? It's almost like better than a studio audience. Why is that more effective than the studio audience? The one or two cameramen breaking out into. I've heard that line before though. He's like using material like he's like on a talk show. He uses the same jokes over and over again.
They were they're crazy. They're crazy guys. But you know, I got Johnny right. You know, she was Johnny's lovely. Johnny's lovely. Johnny was a dead shit. You know?
Whoa! Now he's gonna still like Australia better than the United States even after this, just to be Mr. International Expatriate.
Depp's got a good sense of humor. I don't even think this would piss him off.
I don't think so either.
Depp would just be like, "I love the country, man. I love the people." You know.
You know how bulletproof he is now? I don't think anything bothers him anymore.
No, you go through that trauma like last year of having to do that. Shit don't get you down.
That's right.
Listen, the reason why this Barnaby Joyce is a douchebag. I mean, in 2007, he had an affair with a co-worker, and he didn't disclose it. And he had to resign. This is why he's a real douchebag.
I'm surprised.
And then in 2018, he got stuck with alleged sexual harassment.
So who would have known a face like that? He'd be a lecherous, philandering, sexual harasser. Who would have thought?
Exactly.
I don't think there's like a look someone has. You go, oh yes, he's a Me Too, lecherous, sexual harasser. You just look at him and you know it. Danglema. What the hell's that, man? Danglema? Where he's from?
Oh, it must be somewhere out in the country.
Okay.
Never heard of it. New South Wales, though. So it's...
Midlife crisis goes. I never even tried smoking. I loved rolling. My grandfather smokes as a kid. I wonder if that's where Depp got it. Anyone saw the Murdoch trial? He kept calling his son Paw. That's what Depp called his grandfather in Kentucky, which the only thing I could think of when I was watching that Murdoch thing is, that's the only other time I heard Paw. You remember that, Sarah?
Yeah.
Paw?
Yes, I do remember that.
Well, yeah, there's the jury's still debating that one as well at the moment.
Quite literally, the jury is still debating that, so we'll leave that one there. To COVID news now, and the New South Wales Health Minister Barnaby has accused the Queensland Premier of perverting the purposes of pathology
cigarettes.
testing, as we've just heard. You don't mince your words either. He's called this a passive-aggressive stupidity. Do you agree with him? What do you say to that?
Yeah, I do. Look, I've been speaking to Pat Conahan, Kevin Hogan. We had a truck 3 days in a row in Pat Conahan shade their neck. What are we waiting for?
Okay, that they move on to another story. But where are we at with this? Did they just drop it? Did he drop it? They were supposed to be lowering the boom on her. It was like just a serious offense. You can't smuggle dogs in. And now it's just, you can't throw money at this, right? They can't have her insurance company make this go away. Where are we at with that?
I think they dropped it.
They must, but they don't talk about it. Is it like part of like a don't bring it up, we'll just drop it? This never happened. Did Depp make it go away?
No, I remember what happened. She was banned from ever coming here again, I think. And so
maybe that's how
I think
it
they
ended.
both were, and that's what I think happened. Yeah.
I felt like it got resuscitated again. That's why I brought it up. I saw something else and I was like, where is this? And then they took shots at each other again, and she named the dog Barnaby Joyce. Maybe he just got bored with it. But he seems to love the attention. Yes, Pellel. Seinfeld had an episode where Elaine pretended to smoke to get closer, but I completely forgot about that.
God. Really?
I think it was
Seinfeld
earlier.
Never missed a beat. They got everything.
You can almost equate any situation to Seinfeld, especially Sarah.
It's so great to use Seinfeld as an example when you're trying to talk about something
Yeah,
like
everybody
that.
gets it.
You remember that?
Did you see that episode, The Subway?
Oh, millions of times.
Okay,
It's
that's
hilarious.
So speaking of hating men, Kathy Griffin has jumped on the bandwagon again, and I tell you, this weird thing. And we were going to do an episode on Trump and Depp and the art of the deal, the Funny or Die movie he did for Adam McKay and Will Ferrell's company, and all of a sudden, Kathy Griffin has gone crazy on Depp, and she's doing this psychotic feminazi thing, and it seems
Oh no.
just so forced. And I don't know. And I thought they were common. I thought they were allies in the shit that they got during that Trump thing, because Kathy Griffin did a thing where she cut Trump's head off, and then Depp did that thing where he was he goes, "Has anyone seen the president get assassinated?" And they both took shit at the same time. So I thought they might be, comrades and Vic. But Jesus, this is Newsweek. This came out. This article. This came out a few days ago. Yesterday, in fact. Kathy Griffin has compared Johnny Depp's fans to QAnon supporters after the actor's backers stood by him through his court battle. Depp sued Heard for $50 million, blah, 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 blah. Heard countered, sued for $100 million. Let me get to Kathy Griffin. I don't want the recap of everything we know 1,000 times over. Down. Okay, Depp and Heard both parties levied allegations of violence against the other during court proceedings. Accusations both parties vehemently denied. Comedian Kathy Griffin reiterated her anti-Depp stance this week when she joined a conversation sparked by Twitter and a user asking people to name their abusers in a post-Johnny Depp trial. The world is actually insane. Noting that the negative comments a tweet had, she's going for that negative attention thing. When you're not relevant, you latch on to anything, and she's obsessed with attention and fame. NBC News Tech and Culture reported Kat Tenbarge weighed in on the matter. The backlash to tweets like this illustrates that people would rather believe they were right than accept reality, Tenbarge wrote. The reality is the way that trial was consumed and analyzed by the public hurts the victims. If you can't accept that, you don't live in reality. The QAnon vibes intensify when Depp supporters have to reckon with the very real immediate consequences of that trial, Tenbarge added. Interesting, said Griffin, as she joined the conversation from her locked Twitter account, apparently. It makes sense that Johnny Depp stands, which is like what is this stand thing now, Sarah? What is that term? It means just like...
Oh, stands. This has been around for years. Stands.
Oh, okay.
It's unbelievable. I remember when they started saying it. It's to do with the Eminem song "Stan."
Okay.
About someone who idolizes Eminem, which is what the song is about. So
it
people
really
just
took
say
on
I
a whole...
Stan means that I'm like the character Stan from the song who loved Eminem so much he died in a car crash or whatever happened. That's what's been saying, and I can't believe it's made its way to actual news reporting. Oh,
what a
but
bizarre...
it's 4 years old.
Yeah,
it's kids on
Reddit
saying it,
and they all beat it to death, and you see it over and over again.
But it's like if Howard started talking about it now. This is 3 years ago. That Stan, everyone was saying it on YouTube, and
I would ignore it. I would see it over and over again. Like, what is this? And you explained it exactly how. And this is just a few months ago. I read what it meant, and I'm like, I got so sick of seeing it that I'm like, what? You know how everybody just has to use the same shit over and over again. Like
when I first saw people using it on YouTube, I replied to one of them saying, "Well, what does stand mean? Do you mean stand? Like, is it just a short?" And then they said, "No, it's the Eminem song." It's funny that Kathy's using it. That's even funny.
It really is. She's 60.
Speak the lingo.
63, I think she is.
I don't want to hear Kathy saying that. I don't want to say it. No one should say it.
She says QAnon's a killer disease. QAnon is a conspiracy theory movement based on predictions of an anonymous online account. Griffin recently blamed QAnon for the baseless rumor that she spent time on the private Caribbean island of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The late financier has been falsely linked to several celebrities. This is not the first time Griffin has shared her opinion on Depp. Back in June, days after the trial, ruled largely in Depp's favor. Griffin called the actor a, quote, orange, fat, bloated booze bag. We actually played that on here, some weird podcast it was on. At the beginning of June's second call-in episode of CNN political analyst Brian Karem's Just Ask the Question podcast, Karem asked Griffin for her thoughts on the trial. Griffin prefaced her statements by saying she is, quote, friends with Amber Heard. How did that, when and how did that happen? Where?
Yeah.
Who knows? Adding, I completely believe her. She said the verdict was, quote, really disturbing to her as a woman and a feminist. The Suddenly Susan star then called the discussion around the trial a social media bloodbath and opined that Me Too is not dead yet. She launched an attack on Depp, criticizing his appearance and accent. I just think Depp is gross, she said. Do you know what I find funny? These Johnny Depp stands, they're talking about this trial and they yet to refuse to show pictures of what he looks like now. It's a big, orange, fat, bloated booze bag. He looks like Donald Trump with a ponytail. And so they keep sticking up for him. I'm like, Amber's taking down Johnny. He's so gorgeous and dreamy. I'm like, okay. He talks like Kanye West when Kanye had his jaw wired. He's a fake accent like Madonna turned British. So, you know, who are we kidding here? She also ripped on his fans who were waited out to cheat. I don't think she knows what she's in for. When the next time she goes on tour, watch how heckled she gets. Just wait for it. Just wait for it. She also ripped his fans who waited outside the courtroom each day saying, oh, just the whole thing of how he like this digital warrior is outside. This middle-aged man. He's pathetic, but you're not. You're 3 years older than he is. This is pathetic. So anyway, I don't get it. While it was announced in November that Heard was appealing the jury's decision, the star later revealed in December that she would not be set. She would be settling the case with Depp. I have made no admission. This is not an act of concession, Heard said part of her lengthy statement. There are no restrictions or gags with respect to my voice moving forward. I make this decision having lost faith in the American legal system where my unprotected testimony served as the entertainment and social media fodder. Heard said and she felt vindicated, and the former couple faced court in the UK after Depp took legal action against the Sun's newspaper and journalist Dan Wooten for labeling him a, quote, wife beater. Depp ultimately lost that case. In the U.S., however, I exhausted all my resources in advance of and during a trial in which I was subjected to a courtroom in which abundant direct evidence that corroborated my testimony was excluded, in which popularity and power mattered more than reason and due process, she added. In the interim, I was exposed to the type of humiliation that I simply cannot relive. It's funny. We were saying last week, but I don't know if you heard it, Sarah, what was going, in these trials, when you lose, it's, I didn't get to submit the evidence. When you win, the other person says that. So like the greatest excuse to preserve, and especially if you're a lawyer, to save your own ass that you'll win every trial is, oh, well, we didn't get to submit what we were supposed to submit. It couldn't be your bad performance. It couldn't be the jury just hated you. It's we couldn't submit the evidence that we wanted.
Yes.
You could never take accountability for the L, right? I mean, that's the game. You'd never work again, right? If you took accountability for the loss as a lawyer.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, that's how I would, think. Lawyers are told they're almost like political, and they obfuscate and they kind of give you spin, right? I mean, how bad would it be for your law practice if you admitted to a loss it was your fault? You'll never admit it.
Lawyers are just excellent at deflection. Yeah, it's amazing. It's
I guarantee that's taught in law school, Bon, that they tell them, don't ever admit it. Don't ever admit you lost. It's the evidence's fault. They wouldn't let you submit it. It's the da-da-da. It's the popularity. It's a sexist thing. They'll never admit to a loss.
You're so right. There's so much of a politician in a lawyer. You have to be able to charm people and lie.
Yeah.
They're actors. Yeah.
So Sarah, Johnny Meyer's a Kim Cattrall story for you, which you love, right?
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that. We're gonna do a Sex in the City watch along, which is great, right, Sarah?
Is that really gonna happen?
It's gonna happen. I'm gonna bring in Monique to do it if she wants to sit in once in a while, because I mean that's her fucking ballywick, right? New York, the '90s. There's a lot of fashion. There's a lot of I was there too. I was there for a lot of filming of that.
She thought she was Sarah Jessica Parker back then. Can you? Yeah, definitely.
Well, we always say that Sarah Jessica Carrie Bradshaw is the ruination of so many broads around the country that moved to New York thinking that they were going to write for an online column and just have like her life in 2 weeks with the shoe closet and a Upper East Side apartment that she paid $200 for, and they realized, oh my God, I'm not this is kind of hard living here. It really did. It really
Yeah.
diluted. And I think New York spit out so many people, not just women. I mean, people move there thinking that it's just everything's so attainable, and they realize, oh wow, I guess you got to know someone. I guess you gotta. But I guarantee you that show brought so many women moving to New York in the late '90s. It just the '90s and then even 2000s.
It was not based in reality.
No,
It's
yeah, I mean it's a
weird.
column. You know how it's what was her name? Cindy Shupak. Oh, geez, Candace Bushnell was a columnist for, I think it was the Village Voice or New York Magazine, and they turned it. She wrote a book, and then Sarah Jessica Parker loved it so much that they turned it into that show. She was doing Sex and I think. No, I'm sorry. Ed Wood is just before it started. Ed Wood came out just before that. There's so many
Wow.
guest stars on Sex and the City, too, that people who weren't famous yet or were at the time. I mean, that's a show that just it should have been an hour too. That show. It was too short. I think a half hour is not going to cut it. Yeah, Depp looked like a hostage, Crazy Robin. Yeah, I mean, anyone could see through it. He just like they agreed to do it. He's like, I'm gonna look like I don't want to be here, but we fulfilled our end of the bargain. You got to accept it. They were probably. I remember Depp going on Kimmel threatening Barnaby Joyce, like right after that or just before it. It was so bizarre. I mean, that was when I felt like uh, Depp had a real negativity of the collective general public when that video came out. I was like, oh no, how do I clean this up? And there was just no way to fix it. There's no way to fix it. He actually looked good in that video too, right, Sarah?
No, he looked fine.
Because the cameramen are not famous for their sense of humor. She left a grumpy. That was a big. All right, so from there, so Kathy Griffin. My thing with that is I cannot wait. I don't think she realizes the power of him, and maybe she likes the negative attention. I'm telling you, she is going to get eviscerated any and everywhere she goes. That is not a fight that you want. She always backs. She always backs. She starts this shit all the time and can't finish it.
After she cried about Trump, that was kind
Yeah.
of, she should have really just, like, Roseanne, you need to extricate yourself from social media. You know, it's
Hey,
just,
nice
you're
use of
done.
extricate, Ma.
Thank you.
Yes, good word. I haven't used extricate, good extricate in a long time.
And God, she's so shit. Her work, as she calls herself a comedian, her that terrible sitcom crap. That's not comedy. She was not funny. Fucking hell.
She's kind of like she had this thing where she kind of started the Bravo the kind of current trend of the Bravo stuff. She would go on My Gaze, and she would do this gossip thing, and then kind of morphed into Andy Cohen. And she just never quite hit, you know. And there's a ton of a whole she's sort of like Joan Rivers and Carrot Top had a kid in terms of how
Oh
she looks, and she
yeah.
looks really strange now. And
Yeah, and yeah.
it's tough
I
to
hate
quantify, but she
her.
hangs around and hangs around. That she probably does have a swath of people who fill up her when she goes on tour, and it's just enough to make her think she's relevant.
Oh yeah, because it strangely worked that once the backlash on Trump became bigger and bigger, she was accepted and she started touring again. And then she doubled down on her Trump thing, which
Yes.
said, I'm not sorry now. She's, a year later or whatever it was, she started, once she could do gigs again, she doubled down, and now it's just, gosh, she must be crazy, just like Roseanne. They're crazy. These people that they've been.
We'll take some joy in the fact that her ex-husband emptied her bank account before he left her.
Nice,
Oh, that's
really?
right. I
like
forgot about that
that.
story, Sarah. That's right. That dude with the very clean cut looking dude with glasses, right? He was like a software developer or something.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
on
It
the
was like
show. That's
just a
all I
nerdy
remember.
kind of guy. Yeah, I remember that.
Is he in
Jesus
jail
Christ, forgot
now
about
for
that guy.
doing that?
What
He must
happened to
be.
him, Sarah? Was he jailed for? Was there a court battle or anything?
I'd have to look it
Must
up. I
have
don't
been.
remember.
I'll look it up.
Hellel
Just now.
writes, Barnaby Joyce looks like an Australian Randy Quaid. That's so good. That's what he reminds me of. That's so perfect, Hellel. I didn't even realize that. I'm sitting looking at him going, who does he? That's perfect. I want to talk a little more about very quickly Rochelle Hathaway, who we talked about. She's Hell Hathaway, No Fury as a Amber Scorned, and I believe she got a pass. Like in terms of how, how the Monica Lewinsky, Bill Clinton thing. How is she any better than Monica Lewinsky in this situation? She caused that she was his side piece, his F buddy for how many years? That's exactly what Monica Lewinsky was to William Jefferson. Why does she get it? She should be today's Monica Lewinsky. Her name barely gets mentioned in the trial. She gets to go off in this anonymity. I don't understand how this wasn't more of a. So I'm going to bring attention to it as much as I can. And she is a gun model. She works at this. Anyone in the chat, I remember somebody had mentioned, and I forget, I'd seen it and I meant to get back to it. This Taran Tactical place, which is a gun training facility for celebrity gun range, where they teach them how to shoot in this. Is this like a bunny ranch at the same? It is nothing but model chicks work. It's like a brothel. I don't understand what's going on at this place. Somebody had said there's a Me Too. There's a crazy thing with the Me. Is this guy like the fucking, Hugh Hefner, or who's the guy from the Bunny Ranch again? Forget his name. But
Dennis
it's crazy.
Hoff.
Dennis Hoff. Thank you, Sarah. Look at this background. So this is the first one you see. It's just really quick. It's like 90, just like 50 seconds. This is Rochelle Hathaway teaching Michelle Rodriguez. This is Depp's side piece teaching Michelle Rodriguez how to train for Fast and the Furious.
Ready, stand by.
Perfect, Miss Hathaway. Awesome.
6 seconds.
6 seconds flat?
No, 6-8.
It's your fault.
6 sounds better, doesn't it?
That's cheating. I will not allow cheating. No cheating allowed.
It's not cheating.
The guy talking to them, I guess he's the owner of this Taran Tactical, and he has the lecherous, Me Too, lascivious. He's all that. What we just said about Barnaby Joyce, and I think he's in. But like, it has to be him that has the Me Too, right? There's no question something's going on here. And it was somebody in the chat last week, and I so wish I was able to get to it.
What was her actual time?
Just exaggeration of the truth a little bit.
Sarah, if you don't need an FBI windbreaker if you have those gun skills, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's a gun model. And so I went and saw, I love when you go on your YouTube and you start looking stuff up and they give you the recommendations after a while. So all this Taran Tactical shit comes up on my YouTube now. And it's so bizarre. It's so under the radar. This is Rochelle Hathaway watching Michelle Rodriguez, and we finally hear her speak for the first time. And it's like 2 words, but it's the only time we see her speak. It's like I said, she's like Jeffrey Epstein. You never heard him talk. These are other chicks at this place. This is crazy. This place. These are other model chicks shooting guns and this brothel and tearing so. Hey, Zepp, I agree with that. I would love to have a call if I could figure it out. So call and say, I don't know how you do that.
Our channel can't afford that.
Phoning in and stuff. Is it a separate fee?
You have to pay for a phone
line. Or is it some
line.
trick you can do?
It's a Google phone number she's got.
It's a Google phone number.
Yeah, which masks.
We don't even make enough money to pay for our subscriptions, so sorry.
It's free though, I believe. The Google phone number. You can create it in a.
I guess,
yeah, you can.
It's worth looking into. I would love to do that. Take phone calls about it. That'd be great. That would be really fun. I really would love to do that. So here's, I'm sorry, that's just one of the many videos now that are popping up on my. Here's, let me see, Rochelle herself, Whitney Hurd, Shell Rod. Okay, Shell Rod. Sarah calls Michelle Rodriguez Shell Rod. It's bizarre. And here's Rochelle watching her work with Shell Rod.
Please tell me that was less.
1426, baby.
Oh, you're
Pizza!
Awesome.
Let's hear Rochelle Hathaway's only speaking 1426 baby. I might have to make a sound drop out of that or a video drop.
26, baby.
Oh, you're
Please tell me that was less.
1426, baby.
Oh, you're
Pizza!
Awesome.
How horrible is this Fast and Furious Wigger speak we all seem to have now in LA, which is what that whole cast. Is there any worse collective acting than the people in Bill Maher, that thing where he's like, anyone can act if Vin Diesel could do it? Is there any worse cast than the Fast and the Ludicrous? It's so bad. Oh, how did that
Total
work?
Crap. It's so bad.
And now they're superheroes now. It went from like the street racing thing, which is kind of this wrong. Okay, I'll give you the one. And now Vin Diesel kicked a hole in the street. He did like a Hulk move where he stomped a hole in the middle of the street, and the street rippled. This is a drag racing movie.
And
it's so bad.
That franchise is reprehensible. It glorified completely legal activity. It's like hotted up cars that aren't roadworthy. It's completely. It's fascinating.
We need to investigate.
How many companies formed out of that?
I know. But they get big actors to do it now. They get like Charlize Theron's coming on board.
Yeah. They all got on board.
Jason Momoa.
Gone in 60 Seconds came after that, didn't it? Or before it, or around the same time?
Gone in 60 Seconds is actually before that. Gone in 60 Seconds came out. That's Angelina Jolie and Giovanni Ribisi. Yeah,
hotted
came
up
out
cars and stuff.
Nicolas Cage.
It's classic Nicolas Cage.
See, that's the franchise. They probably wanted that franchise success. The Gone in 60. I don't know if they plan on having it. It did okay. And that's like Angelina Jolie at the peak of her powers when that thing came out.
That film was huge. Yeah, I think it's crap. It's still crap. Garbage movie,
Ida Greenback goes after the Trump mess. She was diagnosed with lung cancer. God, I forgot about that. Surgery interfered with her windpipe and messed up her voice. I forgot about that. So she kind of
could only improve her voice.
Yeah.
Her voice is repulsive. It's God.
You know who's a big Kathy Griffin fan is David. He brings her up all the time on here. I swear to God, yeah.
What from? What?
She was feisty for a while. She was kind of like she was ballsy and feisty for a while. She'd come on Howard and mix it up with him and call him out on not donating to charity and stuff. She has a moment or two.
You're right there. Yeah, I remember. Yep. I forgot about that stuff. I remember you've played some pretty funny shit actually from her. So
there's Texaho millennial slang. Perfect timing for that. Stan is a male simp. Thank you, Gina. Well said. Yeah, it's definitely that Eminem thing. Mob Deep. This is how Depp on the brain I have. When I would see that Mob Deep, I thought it was Depp. I just kept going, what? I guess his name. I thought it was like a Donnie Brasco rap group. And I'm like, what? Is that Depp? I wouldn't accept that it was Deep. And my mind would not accept that it was Deep and not Depp. It took me forever to get that right. Kathy seems like a clout chaser, David C. That's well said. That's exactly what she is. That's exactly probably sums her up the best. The Heidi Chronicles. Anything else from you? So this is just some more people at the Taran Tactical Rifle Range in Simi Valley. This is Keanu Reeves with Halle Berry. Look at the chicks in the background.
Perfect.
Who are these chicks?
Oh,
What is
it's
going on at this place?
attractive people everywhere. Holy crap.
It's endless, Bond. It's endless. Every time it's a background shot, there are. You have to be an 8 or an above to work at this place, and under 35. It's the crazy. I don't. What's going on here?
I know, it's weird. Look at the setup in the
Look at the
background.
setup.
Everything's it's cool, I guess.
There seems to be no male gun trainers.
Yeah, I guess.
Again, it's always the Seinfeld episode. Remember the Seinfeld episode where they claimed the manager was hiring big-breasted women?
Yes.
Right.
Oh,
this is the big. This is that
classic
version of that.
That was awesome.
That was
Fascinating.
raging, Keanu.
1654.
This is John Wick training, by
16. Are you okay with that?
Now it's clean.
Very good.
the way. Keanu Reeves is one of these guys I've never heard a bad. I wonder if Johnny Myers have worked. I've never heard a bad word from anyone ever about him on any set. He's the opposite of a Me Too. Like, you have to do it to him. He just does his thing, and he's classy and nice. And I know he's not the greatest actor in the world, but who cares? He's very likable, and he's really good at what he does. And if someone's going to be successful in Hollywood, I'm glad it's him. He probably sets the tone on a lot of movies he's in, and treats everybody like Depp does as an equal. I've never heard a bad word about him, ever.
Yeah, neither have I. It must be hard when you're that famous, when you do a movie, to go on, first time you go on the set, you to meet everybody, all the crew. Like, I'd want to talk to everyone, and they do that. Like, Tom Cruise apparently does that as well. They go and talk to the lighting people, anyone who's there. They go and ask them ask them their name, how they're doing. All this.
He's pushing
cool.
62. Can you believe
And
that?
I mean, no, he looks like he's 40. Really, I mean, it's unbelievable. And I love that though, that they.
Did either of you two or anybody in the chat ever hear the story about Woody Harrelson harassing Keanu Reeves to the point that Keanu knocked him out? He was kind of going up to him saying, "Oh, you can't do that shit." For a drunken Woody Harrelson got to him at some party or bar or something, and got in his face like, "You can't do that Matrix stuff in real life, can you?" Like, mocking him, just drunk. And he just got in his face and was shoving him, and like Keanu knocked him out.
Oh,
I don't know if that's like a rumor, or I kept seeing that over and over again, and I got it in my head that was true. Oh, okay, thank you, Texo. So that dude stole $70,000 from Kathy Griffin. Stole, whatever that means in their world. If maybe they had a mutual account or something. Thank you, Johnny Ma. Yep, Carrot Top and Joan Rivers. That's Kathy Griffin. I can't think of anything better to compare her to than that. She's berated for jacking off her ex-husband with this Kathy. What's the alternative? Sex with her? No thanks. Johnny. Babe Lewis goes, Monica Lewinsky was a victim, dear arm, not a perp. I'm not saying she's not a victim, but she's a willing participant, at least in the beginning. Rochelle Hathaway is not a victim. Definitely Lewinsky is a victim more, but she was a willing participant in all of this. Right, Sarah? I mean, you know the Lewinsky stuff better than I do, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say she's a willing, at least in the beginning, she was a willing participant?
There has to be some kind of accountability because women aren't all victims. So she did know what she was getting into. She may not have expected the outcome and the backlash she got, which wasn't really deserved. But you're correct.
I hate men. I'm saying that Rochelle Hathaway should get at least 1,000th the attention that Monica Lewinsky got. I do feel sorry for Monica Lewinsky to this day, but she got nothing. Nothing.
Yes,
it's crazy. And she, like I say, Hell Hathaway, No Fury is a Woman Scorned. She caused the entire thing in the penthouse. That night not ever have gone down if she wasn't. Look, Depp is totally at blame too. It takes two to tango. He cheated on Vanessa with her. Absolutely, he's culpable too, but she needs to get shit too. And I can't believe she moonwalked away from this. It's so bizarre, especially today with all the media, the ways to and if you go on her Tanned and Traveled Instagram, there's just she doesn't get crap. She doesn't get, there's no, and you see no mention of that. Even like I kept going to her Instagram during the trial. No mention of anything. Just completely backed away from it. Again,
Yeah, that's weird.
he's just to blame as she is. But Jesus Christ. And this is Whitney Hurd, who did bring attention to it during the trial. And this is
I always felt like Whitney had missed out on something.
oh my God, Bon, that's brilliant. You got that?
Yeah, I did that for you.
That's
ages
so
ago.
okay.
I've had that sitting, waiting.
I'm
know you
amazed
love
at
that.
how quick you are at that.
Like,
what are the
thank you.
chances I would bring that up? Like, what are the chances that that would even come up during this?
Oh,
you didn't know I was
saying
going to
her
do this.
name. You were saying her name. I was waiting.
Jesus Christ, I love that drop.
I loved it. I remember you when he said it in the trial. You were like, "Wow, what a cool thing!"
I thought that was
to
so
say.
deep. Yeah, I thought it was really cool.
It is deep. It's
That might be my favorite thing he said in the entire 6 weeks.
And the way he said it there, it's kind of like he misses her, like he liked her, you know.
Haven't you ever
and he
looked at someone though in life and just said, you know what? I really feel like they should have experienced more, or you feel sorry for someone that they don't have access to things, or they missed out. Like he said, she missed out on something. Like he is acknowledging that he stepped in shit so many times, and here's this person who really didn't step in. Like she kind of just had a really kind of kicked around bastard stepchild kind of childhood, and she got to LA and she's like, oh wow, she doesn't know this. She didn't. It's like I didn't know what poutine was. He's like, Depp would say to me, well, I feel like I missed out on something, especially poutine. And that's how he looked at her. She has that face. That's a phenomenal observation.
Please continue. So I go to PH5 where Johnny, Debbie, and Travis were all standing in the kitchen of PH5. I went down there to talk to him, and again, I can tell he's clearly drunk, and he has a bottle of alcohol of some sort in front of him as well. And again, he's talking to me about how Amber found these text messages between him and a woman called Rochelle, and then he starts saying that this woman was.
So at this point, she says Rochelle, and the whole place was like, "What? Who? Huh? We knew who she was because we were poking around for like over a year looking at the stuff, and I had memorized almost the UK transcript, right? So she came like, "What?" So I went on this for a year looking at who she was and what she was. So the name got dropped during the Fairfax trial, and I'm just going, I don't think people have any idea who this is. Like, and then it gets glossed over, and Ms. Vasquez is objecting to everything when Amber brought her up. Like, no, go into it. We need this is such a pivotal part of this whole thing. She doesn't say her last name here, and it's kind of like, and this is what let's think about this. This is what leads to it all.
Called Rochelle, and then he starts saying that this woman was meaningless. It wasn't anything special. She's nothing special. But then he immediately shifted to, well, Amber pushed me. Amber made me do it. Of course, I'm cheating on her. Whatever. And it suddenly became about Amber making him do it. At some point, then Amber is on.
Now here's Depp's admission to cheating. Right? I mean, it's in the transcript too, and Depp's charisma is so strong over the broads that they don't even care. Like that's just, yes, he was driven to that, and he has no culpability. That's how strong his charisma is. That's just completely blown off. Nobody even paid attention to that.
Yes, it's amazing.
It's crazy. You can't teach that in any charms, finishing school or acting class or anything. You guys got to be born with that depot c'est quoi.
Then Amber is on the mezzanine level of PH5. So it's kind of hard to explain. So the kitchen's down here and the mezzanine's up here. So she's there, it's her little office nook, and she starts shouting at him, saying,
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay. It's not offered to prove the truth of the matter asserted, Your Honor. She's screaming expletives at him. I mean, that's not offered to prove the truth. Overruled. Thank you. Please continue.
They're saying horrible things to one another. Fuck you. He's calling her a fucking whore, fucking cunt, used up trash bag, whatever. They were saying horrible things to one another. She was calling him old and fat. It was a fight. They were saying really nasty things to one
I genuinely felt sorry for Whitney here. I don't know about you guys. I just remember thinking she has the exact look that Depp described. And there's something about it, like she's sort of in the middle, that she's trying to defend her sister, and she kind of doesn't want to be there. I don't know what I really felt sorry for her here. I don't know what it is.
It's embarrassing. That's
Yeah.
why she's embarrassed. That's
Yep.
what the
And she
feel.
looks
I think the
embarrassed,
feeling.
right? That might be
She
what I'm
looks.
thinking.
She looks really unhappy. Yeah,
Yep.
it's
She looks
shit
very
to get
dour
dragged
and
into that. You know.
And I'm not talking about resting bitch face. I'm talking about she just looks depressed. She looks what Depp's describing, like she missed something along with depression.
One another.
Yeah.
I leave them in the kitchen to go up the stairs. Was trying to calm Amber down, hopefully get her back into my apartment. And Debbie had come up with me.
And Debbie, who's Debbie?
Debbie was his nurse at the
Debbie
time.
Lloyd?
Yes, I believe that was her name.
Okay.
So we're with Amber on the mezzanine level.
I'm sorry, just so we know who where is. Is it you and Debbie that are with Amber, or is it?
Yes, Debbie, Amber, and I are all in the little mezzanine area. And as I mentioned, the mezzanine look.
You know when it gets particularly uncomfortable when Depp can't look up, and he has got his face buried in NFTs right now. This is one of those times he couldn't look up. I mean, what was it say? Bruce Witkin, Sarah, Tracy Jacobs. He just buried. He would not look up.
He uses that he used that in the trial to do a dismissive sort of tactic.
Yeah, reductively, right. I could care
when
less.
Amber was talking, he would just look down. He's writing. He's whispering to other people. He couldn't give a shit. It probably influenced the jury when his mannerisms. It's so fascinating.
Texel goes, a lot of the women are taking up target practice now. These women are hardly models, but they are millennials. I doubt any pimp would harm as much sexually assault his hoes. No, I know they're not quote unquote they're Beth Ostrowski faux models, and there's this other level of modeling where you're the Taran Tactical magazine and stuff. That's what Rochelle Hathaway was. She was an actual gun model and turned on them. And that was from 2012, I think. The clip we just watched, Vin Diesel, Johnny Meyer. There's no person you can bring up that he doesn't have a story for. It's amazing. There's no one you can bring up. He can connect, and we should forget Kevin Bacon. It's 6 degrees of Johnny Meyer. And I don't think you have to go 6 degrees. You might only need 3.
Overlooks the kitchen and the living room. So
I'm not the smartest.
And I'm facing Amber. He comes up behind me, strikes me in the back.
Lands
kind of just somewhere over here. He strikes me in the back. I hear Amber shout, "Don't hit my fucking sister." She smacks him, lands one, and then he grabs. At that point, that's when Travis runs up the stairs after Amber landed one. But by that time, Johnny had already grabbed Amber by the hair with one hand and was whacking her repeatedly in the face with the other as I was standing there. Travis pulls them apart. I get Amber into mine. I close the doors behind me and lock them. I then hear Johnny's voice shouting.
Never mind, withdraw.
Yes, you guessed it. Rochelle Hathaway caused all of that. Hell Hathaway, Fury is a Woman Scorned. And I think Shakespeare is saying that Ida Greenback's reminded me of. That couldn't be more true in most situations. And if you don't think Amber Heard had that in her mind the whole time, you're crazy. I think that drove her psychosis beyond anything. When you broads find out you're being cheated on, does that not drop the most blackout rage in every situation?
It's lock away the guns. It really is.
It is. Pell Eller, John Cena's in the movies now. Are you kidding? Dave, another wrestler in the fucking Fast and Furious? Are you kidding me? The wrestlers are the best actors in the movie. I think The Rock's the best actor in the whole movie. Wrestlers are great actors, by the way. Celebrities are tiny elfin creatures, says Texel. By the way, so again, so he did Speed. He was in Speed with Keanu Reeves.
Johnny, brilliant, man.
Was it ever mentioned on the Speed set that Depp turned the role down that Keanu Reeves got? Was that ever bandied about on the set? Because that's a famous story from 90s Depp turning down all these big movies. Was that ever mentioned? Did they know it? Do you know that? I'm sure you know that. Right? Anything like Keanu or Brad Pitt did in the 90s, Depp essentially turned
Tell
down.
us if he's noticeable in the scenes. What scenes is he in Speed? Oh, is he on the bus? Oh, imagine
Get
if
on or
he's
get off.
one of the guys on the bus.
Like Nick of Time is the same kind of type of movie as Speed. It's kind of like a more restrained Speed set in real time. Like Nick of Time is the same, I guess, tone. Would you say like it's the same concept? It's like this thriller, but it's not as high octane.
Yeah. Yep. There he goes. It was never mentioned on the set.
Okay.
Johnny.
I don't think they
says.
knew it at the time. I think it came out after the movie came out. Texas. Everybody loves Texas. Gina Bobina, Texas. Keanu's hot. Love Keanu. They love this guy. I'm telling you, he deserves everything he got. Very just like. Can you even see that guy negotiating a movie? Like, he must demand at least $20 million a film. Do you feel like he doesn't even care? Like, can you see him negotiating? I can't. His agent must do everything for him.
Yes.
He's very quiet,
And,
reserved on set. River's Edge. Go ahead, Bob.
And he gets anything he wants, so negotiation isn't really even the word. He
It
probably
doesn't
just
even
says what
take
he
advantage
wants.
of. Right. Could you imagine what he'd get away with if he wanted to?
It's too much money, really. It's crazy. These guys.
Do I have anything else from... Okay, this is Chris Pine training for Wonder Woman as he played Steve Trevor.
Oh, no.
Look at this. Look at these chicks in the back. What is going on, Bon? Look at this.
I'm trying to find
What?
anyone who isn't
What's going on?
attractive.
He's looking back. He's like, what is this harem behind me? What is this place?
Everybody looks great.
The
Good
bunny
lord.
Well, look right behind him. You'll find the first one.
Yeah, she's like almost like marathon WNBA wrestler.
Jesse, take care.
Are they trying to reenact a Wonder Woman scene? Because that's out of Wonder Woman. Like she does a spin, like Gal Gadot does a spin kick, and then Steve Trevor pulls it down.
All right, they're all dead. Everybody.
We like golf clap, all right?
Poor guy. Yeah.
It's just endless. It's just endless. What is this place? I gotta know. There's gotta be, but we gotta do a deep dive on Taran Tactical. It's so crazy. It's so David, if you're listening, you gotta get out there and do some investigative journalism. You gotta get out there. Pretend you're heterosexual and go on that set and do some gun shooting. I know you people tend to be anti-gun, as you should be, but maybe you could.
You people, wow.
A conscientious, what do they call it? Conscientious objector, right? That's when you're
Beautiful.
anti-gun. That's a
Yeah. Well, that's when they didn't want to go to war. I think they used that back in the 40s or whatever. One other thing quickly, Sarah, John and I are still sleepless over the prospect of maybe seeing some of your doodling one day.
Yeah, I haven't had time to even start it.
Oh, but we could go through the archives of photo. You could.
I don't have anything saved.
Oh,
what the first one was going to be? What it was going to be? Elon Musk's crooked dick, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yes.
She said she's a doodle book.
No, I did when I was a child.
That's out there somewhere. Jesus Christ, somebody's got that right now. Imagine the damage you could do with Sarah's doodle book. What's in that? I'm sure there's a lot of grunge, right? A lot of Seattle grunge.
I designed wrestling outfits for WWE.
Are you kidding me? Like
No.
singlets and shit?
Not singlets, but outfits for the women. I don't
would
know
love to
why I
see that.
cared.
Somebody's got to do it. Why not you? Right?
I could see in a few years with the increasing popularity of our Sarah, I could see
I
that
was like
that little
8 years old.
I could see that doodle book coming into the porn stars store, and then
I drew a life-size sketch of the drummer for The Offspring in art class.
Oh, I didn't know
Oh
you
my
liked The
God, I
Offspring. I
love
thought you'd
I
be.
this.
didn't, but they had to pick a rock star, and he was
Did you
the first
say
one I saw.
life-size sketch?
Mm-hmm.
What's The Offspring's big hit?
Wow.
Gone Away or
Oh.
something like that? Is that the?
Well, that's one of them, yeah.
Okay. Pell writes, hey, Keanu and Woody Harrelson, they're both in a movie together. Article says Harrelson owes Keanu for getting him his break after Cheers. I didn't know that. Wow, I wonder what they must have just been this drunken weirdness. I've heard that story and I don't know if it's
I googled it when you mentioned it earlier, and there's nothing.
okay. Maybe
Nothing.
maybe it was fake. I hope
I
maybe
want
it
it to
did
be
not.
true. I
I know I want
desperately
it to be
want
true
it to
too.
be true. I love that stuff, don't you?
You know, Woody Harrelson turned down Benny and June. He was supposed to play the Aidan Quinn role. Did you ever watch Benny and June?
He was. I haven't seen it, but he was hot at that time. He was probably looking at much bigger movies. You know, he could
So
get any movie back then.
I remember, so like in 92, 93, when Benny and June came out, I think summer of 93, there was the making of Benny and June. I remember the cast was Depp, Mary Stuart Masterson, and Woody Harrelson. And then mysteriously, Woody Harrelson just dropped out. And there was all this talk about him dropping out of the movie, and they replaced him with Aidan Quinn. And Depp took a shot at Woody Harrelson in there, something like, I forget what he said, something like he had horrible choices or something like that. They took a weird, subtle shot at him. But it's
I
an
never
old
saw that because I thought it was a chick flick. I thought that's what it seemed like a romantic movie, wasn't it?
I think it was in my opinion, it was a thinking man's rom-com. What do you think about that, Sarah? A thinking man's romantic comedy where it had psychological an edge to it. It was really good. Mary Stuart Masterson's great in that. She plays like a schizophrenic girl up in
I'll check it out.
it's good. It's a really like cute, quirky movie. Seattle grunge in the soundtrack. I'm sure Depp chose Temple of the Dog, right?
Nice.
Pushing forward, back, and something else's. And you know what else they do? You know that song Can't Find My Way Home by Blind Faith?
No.
I think Depp is obsessed with that song. Because Sarah, you remember the Jump Street episode, Swallowed Alive, the prison episode? I know Kathy Scott knows it. When they played Can't Find My Way Home the entire episode.
No, I don't remember that.
All right. So it was not, obviously the music was stripped away from the DVD. So that was played throughout. In Benny and June, they play a Joe Cocker version of that again. And so I'm watching it in the theater. I'm like, what is with him? And Can't Find My Way. How many people are going to cover this song? And so when she is in the mental facility, Sam, who is Depp, is walking around, and there's this montage of Aidan Quinn brooding that he had his sister admitted into a mental institution. And that song is playing as Aidan Quinn walks over the railroad tracks.
Ooh.
Come down off your throne and leave your body low. Somebody must change. What's that? You are the reason I've been waiting all these years. Somebody holds the key, and I'm weary and I can't find my home. And I'm wasted and I can't find my way home. I honestly think it's been remade 15 times. Everybody's covered that song. I have a strong pimp hand, Tracy Robin. Used up trash. I know that. Trash bag. That got me too, that line. I felt for her during the used up trash bag line. You could see her looking, you could see Whitney looking down at the ground when she said, she's like called up like a used trash bag and all this stuff. And if Depp looked like Dom DeLuise, they wouldn't let him slide on this stuff. That's true, Pell.
Yes.
Good looking guys get away with stuff like good looking chicks do. It's like the whole thing with Weinstein. The comparison was like, if Harvey Weinstein were George Clooney, would any of these chicks have come out like this? Right? Would that have ever happened? Because you'd be proud of that. Amber Heard was worried about losing her bag with Depp. I mean, he got it officially. You hear that ice? Did you hear that ice?
Yeah, I love it when it's classic.
This is those
listen
are full
to that
pubes.
shit. Yeah, you're loaded. and you've had that all show. You haven't had to fill that up.
No, because I
that's
have
pretty good.
the cup that keeps it ice. You know I forget the
Yeah, I
name of
love it. You freeze the cup, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
You can make a slushy sort of thing out of it, can't you?
I was making. That's how you. Part of the drinking coach thing is those slushies will get you in trouble because you drink them too fast. The sugar slushies. This is. You want to watch Joe Rogan at the range or no?
Yeah, go for it.
This is Joe Rogan at the TARAN TACTICal.
Something special.
This is Tatiana.
Next loaded.
They call him Toe Rogan for a reason.
Man, that feels good.
Yeah, they are. Look at this.
The chicken full camo. Wow.
You know, you think the
Look at
recall
this.
differences.
Him. Oh, out. That is the smoothest gun of all time.
You like it?
That's the smoothest gun of all time.
you have ever shot.
It doesn't move.
I know.
Like it literally.
And these faux gun models are made out to be almost like a cheerleading squad too.
They're just fluffers.
Yeah.
Sycophants. Full
Sycophant
sycophants.
cheerleading
Yeah.
squad.
It really doesn't move. There's no recoil. It's totally dead in your hand.
Look at this.
Look at this.
You know what Kiana said?
What?
She's like, whoa, it's cheetah. I'm like, why? Because you're cheating. It's like doesn't move. It's so slight.
It's like the Playboy Mansion where they just bring in the women to
It
hang
really
off the side
is.
of the men.
It's like Life in Hef's jacuzzi over here, huh?
Percent the smoothest gun I've ever shot. By far.
Look at that.
It's not even close. Look at that. Look at the results. It's not even close. Look at the groups. They're like on top of each other.
You like it?
Yes. Who the fuck wouldn't like this?
Hey, Jacob C., welcome, sir. And that is such a hip reference by you. I say this on here every once in a while. That show, Kiefer Sutherland's 24, took essentially that real-time concept. Nick of Time was the first movie to do that in real-time
Yes, it was.
concept.
90
And whether you
minutes
think it's
or
not a good
whatever,
movie
yeah.
or not, it was original in that way. And I was very riveted. You know, it had me. I was very much. See, I thought that the Nick of Time look that Depp, Gene Watson, is what Depp should have used at the trial. I would have gone. I kept saying that over and over again, instead of George Young at the end of Blow when he's running away from and stops to meet Ray Liotta. I tell you, that hair, I would have gone crazy. If you're Bond, do you think that the legal team don't have the balls to tell him to clean up, like in terms of like the optics?
That's what I want to know. I wish we could talk to one of those kind of people, because I don't know what I'd say if I was employed by him about the look. I'd say, I don't know.
I think they tell him
so.
now. I think now, because they've gotten such a notoriety from it, Chu and Vasquez would say. But then I think that they were so intimidated. But I mean, he's I don't even know how to put. He's globally, internationally famous for 30-something years. Right? It's not just, and he's managed to maintain this A-list thing, whether his movies were hits or not, for so many years that he's now, like, you realize, I say this all the time, he's Pacino's age in Donnie Brasco now. Like,
Yeah,
he's
isn't that
going to be
crazy?
60 in June. And that's
tell
how
you,
long.
I'll tell you what I'd do if I was involved. If he said to me now, like, if he said now all that shit's over with the trial, I want to start looking at some scripts again. I'd say, all right, I'll get you scripts, but we got to get you looking hot. And I imagine he'd know what that means. Like, you got to get back into working out. I'd say we got to get you looking hot though if you're going to be in movies.
One of my and maybe Johnny Meyer, the director of City of Lies, Brad Furman. I had a really good interview I watched with him. I would love to speak to him. He's saying what Bond just said, and I say all the time. He basically, in a very, 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 very shrewd, nice way, said that Depp was getting away from what makes him great. And in this interview, he said, and this is like to promote Steve Lies. I need him to break away from the makeup and he said it in a very nice way. He said, I want to see him go back to, and he mentions all the crime biopics that we mentioned. And he said, I want him to get back that sort of, crime biopic drama. And that's what he went for in City of Lies. I don't want a lot of makeup. I want him to kind of be stripped down where it's like kind of the real him, raw him. And that's what he said. And I couldn't agree. He's exactly what I've been saying. And he felt the same way. And he sort of tailored that movie around getting him back in that crime biopic drama mode, because he was, I think that he definitely felt like what I did. He had lost his way script wise. He just lost the ability to foresee and predict what a good, there's this whole skill in reading a script and visualizing where this is going to go and what I could, and he lost that ability. He just got weird, the money thing, and it happens to anybody, like familiar with, you want to hang out with your friends on the set, you want to be comfortable, you want it to go fast, you want to, get out of there, and it's not about kind of this matter. So he lost the ability to, for the most part, to visualize what a good script is. What used to make him so great.
I could imagine you and I, John, just sitting down with 100 scripts, and I could just go through them in an hour and just throw away so many. And just
that's all I do is read transcripts all day.
If I was working for him, I'd just be like, we've got to find you something that is absolutely awesome, and just go through anything to do with superheroes and all that. I'd just be like, throw all that shit away. I want to find a real story. And just gritty, and he, with his appearance, that's not going to be a problem at all, man. They'll get him in shape within 2-3 months of training. He'll look exactly like he did, 10 years ago. He'll be fine. He's got to find something that he just goes, I want to be in this movie so much.
Yeah.
He'd almost do it for free. That's the mindset I'd want to be in. I'd be like, I want to find something that I don't give a shit about anything. I've got to be in this movie again. Like, and he hasn't probably felt that. Oh, he might have with City of Lies and stuff, but he hasn't felt like that for probably ages.
One of the most telling things about the Tracy Jacobs testimony, and that's from actually the money lawsuit from 2018, which bled into the UK trial. She talks about him losing his way with scripts, and it became a cash grab. And the music that he's doing had really ruined. Like when you're committing to a tour with the Hollywood Vampires, you're now 6 months you can't do a movie. Right. So she's getting all these great movies coming in. And she's like, oh, well, no. She's like, I'm telling you. She's like, you can't tour with them. You can't do this. These movies, you need the money. This is a great film. You must do this. And he just is obsessed with those kind of mentors, and he can't say no to fucking Alice Cooper and Joe Perry. And he went on, and she hated the Hollywood Vampires. First of all, he wasn't even getting that much money, according to her. He was getting like this very minimal thing, and 80% of the crowd seeing them are Deptford wives who don't even give a shit about that music at all, and never would care about anything if he wasn't there musically.
That thing is just useless as a project. It'd be easy just to jam with them.
It's
once
a cover
band.
It's a cover band. It's karaoke,
and then go back and do some fucking movies or something. But it's fine. It's fine if we had him on and he said, "No, I love it," I'd be like, "All right, that's all right, man.
All right, well,
don't worry about it."
Don't call yourself an artist if that's what you're doing, because it's cover shit. It's karaoke. It's not artistic at all. It's the opposite of art. You're covering songs.
He might not want to do movies anymore. That's a fact. That's something.
Yeah, that
true.
Could very well be. He's just tired of the whole process.
Because he'd been working on that album with Beck for probably a year.
He might need to just come out and go, I don't want to act anymore. I don't want to do movies anymore. Look, I get it, but admit it, because
it's frustrating for us because it's someone who can do anything he wants. And he's doing what we don't like. It's so frustrating.
Exactly. I want to know what's come over his desk over the years. I know a lot of what he's turned down, but I think we don't know a quarter of it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We don't know a quarter of it.
It's kind of like if your friend was telling you that you wouldn't like hassle them if they were saying, I just want to play in this band and I'm making good money. You wouldn't go, well, why don't you get back into acting? I guess that's the kind of thing that
What if somebody?
if I was his friend, I wouldn't hassle him about it. I'd just be like, you can do movies whenever you want, so don't worry about it. But I don't know.
He'll go, well, I've always said music is my first love, and I go, well, that if it's your first love, then you don't need to do it on tour. You could just do it. You have how many residents do you have? Just play at your own residence. If you love it so much, why do you need to be in front of crowds? Who gives a shit?
That's the
You
weird
said you didn't
part.
like it anyway. You said you were uncomfortable. You have stage fright. Then why bother? Just do
I
it at
played in
home.
bands. I played in bands that never even got to their first gig. Like,
Right. That's
we
the
just
love of the
decided
game.
we didn't want to do it anymore, but we jammed together for like 3 months, and that was awesome memories. But for him, it's weird. He's got to be there.
He needs to be around these dinosaur rock icons all the time, and there's almost nobody from that era he's not friends with. He's somehow managed to forge a friendship with every single dinosaur Hall of Fame rocker, and I mean, there's almost nobody you can like, from Evan Dando to the fucking Lemonheads and the Oasis guy, the Gallagher boys from Oasis, and then it's like Joe Perry and Paul McCartney.
It's
I don't
kind
even
of
know how he knows Paul
embarrassing.
McCartney.
He's like a groupie. He's obsessed. Yeah, it's like Howard. It's like fucking Howard.
But at least Depp's knowledgeable about these. At least he's an actual fan. Like, I'm sure he's like encyclopedic about. But
we don't know what's going on. Like, Depp might be telling everyone he knows, like, I'm trying to find a good script and everything I read's crap. I don't want to do it.
Let me read it then. Then give it to me. I'll decide. I don't care. I'm disappointed, and his whole team is getting it wrong. I want the scripts. Forget his sister. I'm bypassing them all. I want the script sent to me. I'll decide what he does.
I want to. Yes.
I think I have a good rate. If there's anything I know in life, I'm an idiot in so many ways. If there's something I know a good movie, I know a good film, I know an original script, and I think I got a pretty good savant idea. I think when I recommend movies to people, I put my name on it. I think I have a really good ability to identify a good before it happens.
I want you on his team. I'm saying that live right now.
I could have
I'm going
my
on the
bucket
record.
list. I'm gonna, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna fake cancer, and I'm gonna have a Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Yes,
and my
in
one wish
hospital,
is gonna
he'll
be to
come
pick
in.
a script for him. That'll be. I'll
and
fake cancer.
And you'll request that he comes in like Donnie Brasco character, not the pirates. You want him to come in like Donnie.
Yes.
Yeah, with the boots on, the cowboy boots. You want him to come in like that, and then you'll tell him. You'll say, "Look, I made up this cancer thing, but I need to work with you." And in 5 minutes of you explaining, he'll be like, "Yeah, let's get you out of this hospital bed and let's get onto those goddamn scripts." Feel the passion there? That's
we go back 20 years, and he pulls out old scripts he never did. That's a good movie in itself. Like that spam.
Yeah. You trick him, and then you become friends or something. And then he gets sick, and then you're there for him, and then you become famous. That's a movie.
He's like, I hate to break it to you, but the Make-A-Wish Foundation's only for kids. I lie about my age. I think it's only for kids. I think it's. I don't think.
And the trailer with that. I wish I had some. The music could be like, through an awful deception came a true friendship. This summer. Johnny Depp and Arm. Sarah, are you loving this? You're very quiet. I'm a bit worried about Sarah
I'm
tonight.
not going to speak over everybody.
No,
I'd rather be quiet than let you guys talk.
Johnny Meyer loves Sarah's dry sense of humor, by the way.
But she sounds a bit sad tonight. Are you all right, dear?
No, I'm fine.
Yeah,
Are you morose, Sarah? Johnny Meyer loves your dry sense of humor, by the way. You're
thank you.
Laura from Dr. Katz.
That was perfect the way she just said thank you. I love her voice. I do. It fascinates me. Sarah, will you agree to doodle for us and present it the next time I'm on? Will you agree right now, live on air?
Add 3 more hours to the day, and I'm happy to.
Are you a perfectionist? Like
John.
you really like labor over every angle?
She must be. If she's going to show it on this show, she's going to put her heart and soul into it. Will you doodle for us?
No, I have other things I need to finish first.
Wow. Oh, okay, so that's not
When's the James Dean thing? When can we expect that?
I want to have it done by the end of May.
Okay. How long is it going to be? As long as the
I
audio?
literally have 3 hours a week to work on it, so I'm hoping for the end of May.
Keep them
37
separated.
minutes.
That's right, Johnny. That's right. Keep them separated. That's right.
You
I don't
could
buy-
doodle something really nice in 45 minutes, though, Sarah.
Texaho, you cynic. You don't buy the premise of Benny and June. You don't buy a Buster Keaton doppelganger getting lost in a bet at a poker table and then getting adopted by a family while the schizophrenic daughter, they fall in love, and then she goes into a hospital and he breaks
Don't
her
tell
out
me
by
the
swinging
ending.
out. Okay, all right.
Oh,
Never. I
you're-
won't. I
you're
won't. tell you.
almost- that's all
I
right,
can't
that's all right.
believe you don't buy that. What a cynic. Johnny Meyer goes, I had friends who partied with Woody Harrelson, his lawyer, and Jack Nicholson at a Pink Floyd concert in L.A. I think it was at the Rose Bowl. Woody Harrelson's life is fascinating. He's like in Hawaii with Willie Nelson and Bill Maher, and it's just, he really makes it look good. He's actually had a really nice career. He's had a really good career.
Yeah, he's
I'm
had sort of
surprised.
ups and downs, but never gone away. He's like really.
Remember Natural Born Killers, man?
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah,
Jesus. That was pop culture. Then it became part of pop culture. That movie. Wow.
Fabulous movie. He was Carnage, Cletus Cassidy in the Venom series right now. But he shows up in everything. Now he's had apparently he's really good in, which I have not seen, True Detective on HBO with
Oh, I
Matthew
watched
McConaughey.
that. Oh man, the season he's on is awesome. He's on
People
the
say that
second
is
season, I
like
think.
brilliant. People
Oh,
say that
dude,
is
let
an
me tell
A
you something
plus.
about
They still haven't
the-
seen it.
The third season, I think, wasn't as good, but I think it was him and the second, and that the last episode had this scene where I'm not giving anything away, but it was like a one camera maneuver for like 5 minutes.
Okay.
And it's following them high as kites, shooting at people, going through this drug dealer's house and all this stuff. But it's one camera shot, no edits. It's fucking amazing. It's
Yeah,
so
I'm gonna
full
take your recommendation on that. I'm definitely gonna watch. I've been putting that off for so long. What is it? 10 episodes? A
Yeah,
season?
you don't need to have seen the season before it. They're self-contained seasons.
Oh, I
so
thought
if
that
you
was
watch,
the first one. The
no,
Woody and McConaughey.
No, I think it's the second or the
Okay.
third. I think it's the second. The first one's really good, but it's different people in it, each one.
Yeah, I also heard the opposite of Vince Vaughn and Colin Farrell. Apparently, that's so bad that it sullied the entire franchise. That's what I heard.
Yeah, that must be season 3.
Or
Must
that
be-
the Woody Harrelson McConaughey one was so strong that nothing after it could possibly touch it, kind of thing. Most people I trust with an opinion on movie and television said that the Colin Farrell Vince Vaughn version was terrible. But I don't know. I didn't watch it. Like Colin Farrell's a pretty good actor. Maybe they didn't know chemistry or what. I certainly didn't see it to know. But somebody in this chat or you or Sarah, did you ever see True Detective?
I tried it and I was bored out of my mind, including the first season.
Said that to rehab Depp's career is that he should do a True Detective season with someone, team him with.
That'd be great.
Who could we put him with? Somebody black.
Oh, it seems that
Jamie
it
Foxx.
seems-
How about Jamie Foxx?
Okay, I'm off on my information here. So you're right. They were in the first one.
Okay.
Matthew McConaughey. I'm sorry. I hate it when people give all that incorrect info on a podcast.
It's okay.
And you're sitting there going, "No, I directed it" or whatever, and you're like, "You got it all wrong." So no, that was season 1 was the best. That's those two. Yeah.
Texas will love the Rogan footage at the driving range, at the shooting range. He's in Texas now. Rogan, that's perfect. She's right there, Texas. Rogan's in Austin now. That girl telling Rogan that's the best you ever shot got me rolling. What a bird! I know, Josh. That was so phony. Do I look like Chop? Who do I look like? Chop liver? Oh, my Rooster Rabano over here. Who wouldn't pay to shoot there if your ego gets boosted? I know. What do you think they charge at the Taran Tactical? They obviously are. There's a fee, right? There's a celebrity fee.
If you look at the that footage again, it's a shithole. I mean, that can't cost much.
No.
If you look, it was like a little barn with no doors and then just a field with shit everywhere.
And they must. I mean, I'm sure the movie studio pays for it, so they have to have authenticity training, and they go to this place, and this virtually everybody, you could name that's gone through there. Anytime I'm sure all the Rodriguez movies, that guy's obsessed with clever gunplay. Robert Rodriguez. I dare him to do a movie with not crazy gunplay. I dare him.
Yeah, he loves it. It's like John Woo's fascination with guns. Holy shit.
No, I know it's a New York thing, Texaco. I don't see a lot of gun ranges here, but I know it's bigger outside of the tri-state area. City of Lies, Johnny Meyer. I mean, now you know the whole story with. Hey, by the way, did you meet that guy, Rocky Brooks, with the lawsuit? Greg Rocky Brooks. Were you around for any of that? The assault lawsuit? Do you have anything on this guy? Greg Rocky Brooks. That's the Depp assault. One of the many, many lawsuits he's been involved in. That's that's a documentary in itself. The City of Lies saga. What it took to get that out. They claim that the LAPD was blocking the release of that movie and the Big E conspiracy with Tupac and. That's a documentary in itself, that movie. Lots of waiting around too much. And how late was Depp too, Johnny? That's one of the DEPP time when he was late for the set all the time. Is that true? Lots of waiting around too much, and then he did a shoot. It was like very improved, not very structured. I wrote a screenplay called Beverly Hills, Michigan. 8 millimeter meets Fargo with a dash of super.
Oh, John, you're so behind on the chat, man.
I know.
Oh my God, that's 20 minutes ago. I love it, though. I love it. I love it how you get to the chat. You really care about the chat.
I give too much attention to each individual.
Like you don't see Monique reading out everybody's. I mean, it moves a lot faster, but yeah.
No, I guess because it's more. I don't know. I just like I don't want to be under a. I'm not. She has this tight time constraint now, and I don't really.
Yeah.
You also don't live by the you have to super chat for me to grace you with my attention.
I guess I don't.
I'm not saying she does.
She doesn't either.
Channels,
she doesn't either.
Let me finish. I'm not saying she does, but most channels do that. That's why we also lose out on super chats, but it's worth it.
Doesn't that make me more charming? I don't play that. I mean, if they say so, these people take the time to hang with us and write something good. I'm gonna read it. Hopefully, if I have time.
That's good. Johnny replied to you, John. Depp wasn't on set. I know you're 20 minutes away from getting to it, but he says Depp wasn't on the set the days of his shooting, which must be disappointing for
anybody that
bitterly disappointed.
Do you know about this, Johnny Meyer? I'm obsessed with the deleted scenes in City of Lies. I keep seeing pictures of Depp playing baseball with the kid who's playing his son in a flashback scene where they're having a catch, and all you see is him walking onto a park with a bat on his back and a glove and a ball with the kid, but they don't show any. Was there a baseball scene cut out of that movie? His son in the movie is a minor league baseball player that they keep going to the stadium, and he's on the outs with his son, but he's stalking his son, and his son plays minor league baseball, which I believe they shot this at USC and the USC college baseball stadium, and Depp's in the crowd watching his son from the stands away where his son can't see him. And I'm wondering if they deleted a scene with Depp and his young son, because there's pictures all over, not all over, but him having a catch with this little kid. This is just in between scenes. So I'm wondering what happened to some of the deleted scenes. Midlife crisis. Oh, welcome, Kaula. He turned down Grand Budapest. That's exactly right. Kaula. Grand Budapest Hotel he was going to get a piece of it. Tracy Jacobs wanted him to take it. He turned it down, and it went to I don't know if a specific actor took his place or he just turned it down. I know he turned it down, but I'm wondering if was it Owen Wilson I'm thinking of? Oh, anyway, he turned this, and it was, I think Bill Murray was in it, which I thought would have got him to do it. And it did, it was a Paul Anderson movie, I think. and it made a lot of money per what the budget was. So he would have made a killing on it because he had a piece of it, and he turned it down to, I think, tour with the Hollywood Vampires.
Now here's some information on the City of Lies Blu-ray. There's 7 deleted scenes. Have you got the Blu-ray, John?
I don't have the Blu-ray, but I have the digital copy of, and
Okay,
I don't have
that
the
won't
deleted
have them.
scenes. I don't
could
have the
probably
deleted.
find them
If you could
eventually.
find them, I'm sure.
Yeah.
If you can't, you're blocked. Oh, you see that, Ice?
Yeah, I
He
love
turned
it. I love
down
it.
Budapest. Yeah, Stallone was great in Copland Pell. I do love Copland. Copland's a great. I've seen Copland so many times. What a cast in that movie. Oh, that's Stallone. Very underrated Stallone performance in that. You ever see Copland, Bon?
Yeah, well, I saw it at the cinema. I think I haven't seen it since, but I remember the reviews being very glowing. It was like a comeback for him.
Such a
Sylvester,
good
'cause
cast.
yeah. And that
Janine
had,
Garofalo's in
yeah,
that,
that
Bon.
had a
Janine
lot.
Garofalo plays Stallone's partner in North Jersey. It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre she's in that. They're like a North Jersey kind of like Sopranos-esque town called I think it's fictitious. I forget the name of it. It was made up for the movie. And she plays his. They're like local cops, and she plays his partner. And it's called Copland because all the New York City cops live in the town, and they run the town. And then
Yeah,
he's the
it's like
sheriff in this town.
corrupt.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great. So Paul Castellano has got it. He hit DeMeo, but he refuses. More too scary. He's Depp is a massive nut swinger when it comes to aging rockers. Nut swinger, huh?
Nuts.
I like that.
I like yeah.
Trying to be underground band, Hollywood midlife crisis. Oh, you want me to do? Trying to be. Oh yeah. Crazy Robin, you and I are on the same page as Pell. DeMeo is a true sociopath. What am I? Siskel and Ebert over here. Paul Castellano, businessman screwing up Columbia and Gotti. Stuttering John, let me get down here. Idris Elba. That's a good one, Crazy Robin. Idris Elba in Depp and True Detective. That's a really good one. Idris Elba's in everything now. That's a really good choice.
Yeah.
That's probably
I
better than
watched,
Jamie Foxx.
I watched his new Luther movie the other day, which is great. Great show.
I'm not saying Idris Elba is more talented than Jamie Foxx. He's not. Jamie Foxx is phenomenally talented, all-around entertainer. I just think he'd be better for that.
Idris. I think Idris destroys him in every acting capability. Idris
Jamie
is like
Foxx
a
is a
master.
phenomenal chameleon. When he played Rachel, I mean, he's phenomenal. I mean,
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, I guess so.
Yeah, it's all who you like. It's
Opinions,
all arbitrary.
yeah.
It's different. It's hard to compare the two, but she's right in the sense that he'd be great for that role. That would be great teaming. I agree with that. City of Lies is originally called Labyrinth. I know that, and it's based on a book. Depp is not understand. That's I wonder why City of Lies is that too generic? Because the book was called Labyrinth. Do you think that that's too generic of a title, City of Lies, that it's almost forgettable?
Yes.
You know what I mean? It almost sounds
Labyrinth,
like
though.
So is Labyrinth. I know it's been done before. Maybe
Yeah,
just
City
change
of
it.
Lies. It feels like it feels like it's been a movie title many times. You know, which can't be
That's
good.
what I first
like
thought of when I saw it. I'm like, that title seems kind of forgettable. You got to do something to change. I don't know. Like I've heard stories about how movie companies won't let them change titles and stuff. I remember getting pissed at something. And then the director came out and said they wouldn't let. Oh, okay. It's a show that I like. It was a UFC. It was a mixed martial arts show called Kingdom. Does it get any more generic and forgettable than Kingdom?
That's bad. That's really
How
bad.
many times? So they wanted to call it Navy Company or something. It's the title of the MMA gym that they run. I think Navy Street. And that's good enough, right? That's not bad. The television company wouldn't let them call it Navy Street, and they made them call it Kingdom. And they knew it was bad. And the showrunner was like, I know this is, people are just not gonna, and that's the shit that happens behind the scenes that we don't know. Like, why would you call it that?
It's weird because if you think about a movie like Speed, you know, you could argue that was a shitty name for a movie, but it was great. It worked perfectly for the story. It's weird.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's sometimes it ties in and sometimes, but I would be very precious about the title of any movie I was doing because it's so important to luring people into it. It's got to be germane or punny. It's very important. Sometimes I can't believe some of the shitty titles they come up with. How it doesn't tell this, it doesn't connect it to anything that's relevant in the movie. Sarah, can you explain to Rooster Roboto what the arm fund is for and an actual arm? That I have a fake arm.
We're buying you an arm. It's also to keep your third arm healthy.
Wow.
No, what it is,
Nice.
everything that we net via Super Chat or Patreon, meaning everything we get after these streaming platforms take their cut, goes to ARM and toward his needs
If
because
you
he
ever
is the special needs person.
if you ever saw Winter Soldier, I'm based. The Bucky Barnes character is based on me. I have a robotic arm. I have a bionic robotic arm, and yeah, it was gonna be Make a Wish, and they did surgery for me. I have a Winter Soldier in my pants, and they sent me to Russia. I came back. They brainwashed me, and now I have a robotic arm.
And in the very rare occasion that we actually exceed our goal, which I think we've done one time in the last 2 years, those fees go toward paying for my out-of-pocket expenses on this goddamn podcast.
Whoa!
And anyway.
Johnny Meyer has a Janine Garofalo story. This motherfucker is, if we don't have him on, and you know how much David loves Janine Garofalo. I saw Janine Garofalo at a bar north and casting director, and I almost rented her home in the Hollywood Hills. I house sat for it. Well, that's a movie in itself, right?
He
But she
knew her.
didn't rent it
Wow.
because she didn't know who she was and gonna get a series at the time. Wasn't that a movie with Ashton Kutcher and Anne Heche called what the hell was it? He was house sitting for
Yeah, Spread.
That remember Howard was obsessed with that? I think it was because he was channeling Ralph during it, like Ashton Kutcher was actually playing Ralph Cirilla.
Yeah, it's kind of that. And Howard wishes he could be like a toy boy.
Yes.
Could have been one. Yeah.
Anybody wants to
true.
see an actual good Anne Heche movie, watch Return to Paradise with Vince Vaughn.
How about Donnie Brasco?
Oh yeah, forgot about it. That's an obvious one. Sorry, an unknown Anne Heche movie.
She plays Carmela Soprano
Joaquin Phoenix
before
and
Carmela
Vince
Soprano.
Vaughn. Thank you for interrupting.
Anne Heche, by the way, I still can't believe she's dead. Bon, what do you think about Sarah's in memoriam of all Depp's all his Depp adjacent people he's worked with or friends he's had? It's a really long list, and I think it's really getting to Depp's psyche. All these people around him passing away from his
Yes.
life.
He's probably questioning his mortality.
His mortality, right? He's taken a lot of risks, substance-wise. He's still kicking. Looks like he's going to live till he's 180 years old. And Ray Liotta dies, and then Heche dies, and he's obviously Thompson and Marlon Brando, and over again, all these people in his life. Jeff Beck. It's just on and on and on. Every 2 months, another confidant of him passes away.
And one of the members of his little band will probably kick the bucket soon because they're all getting on. They're not young.
One of the funniest things about the trial, and Sarah, you brought this, I know you love this, is when Bruce Whitkin threw Joe Perry under the bus. As going back on going back to coke, because those Aerosmith guys are kind of like claim to be sober for years and years and years.
Oh yes,
Bruce Whitkin goes, "Yeah, Joe Perry had coke with him all the time." I was like, "Ooh,
yeah,
God,
that would have pissed him off real bad." How did he get hit in the whole trial? It came
think
around
about
for
Joe Perry's.
It's
What is
so
he?
great.
75, Bon? Right?
No,
he's in his 70s. Definitely.
I don't know. I don't think so.
He's either.
I'll look it up, but
I'll give him at the
I thought
lowest.
he'd be
I'll go is
60.
73.
No.
Yes.
Really?
I could be wrong.
Shit. You're 72. You're right. Pretty much. Shit.
I just guessed.
I
I was
can't
an educated
believe
guess,
that.
but so imagine
thought he
doing
was,
cocaine in your 70s.
Yeah, I don't want to even think about it. That's so sad.
It's sad, but it's completely dangerous as fuck. I remember being a kid and being terrified of cocaine thinking, oh my, it's a death sentence, right, Sarah? If you snorted, you were going to have a heart attack. If you were 25, you couldn't handle it. And I had so many NBA players that died on a coke bender. I remember like Len Bias and Roy, all these people. I'm going, I couldn't fathom being like even 30 something and doing it.
I've had it a few times, but it's so hard to have here. It costs so much money to buy it here.
What does it
whatever
cost?
you pay, it's say like, in American dollars, it's probably like $200 for like a lot less than a gram. You'd be able to rack up like 10 lines maybe with it. It's like $300. That's a lot of money because we can't make it here. So it's coming through in people's assholes on the airplanes and stuff.
George Young.
But the reason that it's not so addictive if you can't get it that much. It's that you need to keep bumping every half an hour or so. So that's why people die, because they just start sniffing more and more over the hours. Because you can just start feeling it fading, and you're like, I need more, like right now.
Do private jets get searched?
I wish I knew.
When you come into these airports,
I hope so, man.
That's why
if they don't, that would explain it. Yeah, I'm sure they do in Australia. I don't know.
That's why Depp insists on having the private jet treatment. Remember when he had the conversation with his business managers to go back to commercial airlines and first class? I mean, that's got to be part of the MO. Is that it's got to? I don't know how
searched. I mean, the sniffer dogs have to get on the plane.
Okay,
it must cost him thousands just for those dogs to have it searched, I guess.
Johnny Meyer says sometimes they'll steal the use of a title film with no intent of using that title just so somebody doesn't rip it off. That's interesting. They're worried about being plagiarized. That happens all the time. That parallel thinking bullshit with it. My cousin, who's a writer, was telling me stories about how you go in to pitch something to a company and they just reject you and you go, oh fuck, all right, whatever. Hey, I like the idea, but that's not what we're gonna do right now. And then all of a sudden, a year and a half later, the movie comes out that he just pitched, and you go, what? And they just retitle it, and it's that's gotta be just fucking devastating to see that.
Speaking of The Offspring, that was a funny thing that similarly happened when Guns N' Roses were working on the Chinese Democracy album for 13 years. The Offspring put out an album in like 2003 or 4 and just said, we're calling our album Chinese Democracy because Axl can't get the album together, so we're just going to use it. And they would joke. The album came out and it was a different title, but it brought up, people were saying, well, does Axl own that title? No. Chinese Democracy, he couldn't like sue them. People were saying it, but it was a bit funny, but it got them a lot of press for like a day.
The plagiarism thing is an interesting, it's always a great conversation. I mean, as far as, because, I don't know, what was in my head? And they're like, parallel thinking, and we just thought about it at the same time. Everybody's inspired by something, but it takes
it happen?
Yeah, it takes a big man to go, yes, I stole that. I was influenced by this and I stole it. Jay Moore, the comedian actor, had a book come out about Saturday Night Live called Gasping for Airtime. And in the book, he admits to stealing a bit because he was bereft he wasn't getting on. So he's like, I'm going to get fired if I don't come up with something. So he stole a bit from a comedian named Rick Shapiro, who did a bit about some Irish bar or something, and he stole it almost frame for frame. They caught it. Rick Shapiro's manager somehow got his lawyer to have a meeting with Lorne Michaels, and he shoved a tape in of himself doing the stand-up bit and put it side by side with Jay Moore's sketch, and it pretty much led to him getting fired. And Saturday Night Live got sued for I don't know what, but Rick Shapiro won, and they successfully sued Saturday Night Live for stealing his bit. I don't know what he made, but that's what happens. Like it's going on all over the place. Like Amy Schumer has that compilation of her stealing from everybody. It's irrefutable.
Fact, yeah, it's fact. I've got to take my dog outside, so I'll be listening.
Okay.
If you want to wind up, it's okay.
Sarah,
but I'll be back.
Okay. Cowless says that Depp owes you.
He'll pay me someday.
He does. I mean, you almost saw him when you went to see Trent Reznor, right, in L.A. Was there any? Weren't you
No.
close to the Viper Room at that point?
No, I drove by the Viper Room and I took a photo. I never got out of the car,
And this is what
unfortunately.
year?
2004. So he was gone.
He just left. They just went down. By the way,
Mhm.
I went through Tracy Dracob's transcript again a few days ago, and in fact, she says straight up, and I don't know if it's been expansive, but she says Sal Janko stole from him in the transcript.
Oh, well, of
She
course, yeah.
in black and white. It's not dancing around that she goes, Sal Janko stole money from him. It's
Mhm.
not even up for debate. That's exactly what happened. His Instagram is fascinating. How his whole life really is about Depp, right? I mean, he's Blowfish. He's attached to Depp. He got in the Roland Brasco, the Viper Room, blah blah blah. Everything he's ever done is because of Depp. And Depp's not on his Instagram in one iota. There's not a mention of him. There's not a. It's so bizarre, and I look at it all the time. He's constantly posts pictures of the Dodgers and the Lakers, and his son's like a really good baseball player, and he just doesn't bring nothing about the trial. And I am obsessed with. I don't troll him. I don't write anything. I just read it. I like stuff once in a while, and I just it's fascinating to see someone like him who's owes his whole life to Depp, not bring him up one time on his Instagram.
Mhm. I'm changing the thumbnail, so I apologize for the silence.
You are the Ralph Steadman of thumbnails, I should
Well,
say.
when we don't get to the main topic as usual, it's probably a good idea to change the thumbnail.
Classic arm, right? Hollywood vampires sound like it could be as financially destructive as a bad drug addiction. Yes, it can, Pellel. Well said, sir. A
I
French.
need votes on what we call this episode, by the way. I'm
Can
just
I-
calling it live chat. I don't even know what to call it.
Rochelle, how about Taran Tactical? Taran Tactical, Kathy Griffin.
I'm not listing every topic in
Rochelle
the
and
title.
I like to do that. I like to get everyone. Barnaby Joyce.
Live chat in tidbits. I don't know. All right. Anyway, I'll worry about it later. Okay. Thank you, David.
How about putting Joan Rivers and Carrot Top together and then show Kathy Griffin's face?
Oh,
melded into-
okay, good. All right.
You can do that?
I can do Kathy Griffin. I'll find the ugliest picture I can.
And you'll show Carrot Top and Joan Rivers like
No, I'm
above.
gonna just put Carrot Rivers on the in the thumbnail.
Crazy Robin booty transport. They call that keistering, right, Sarah? When you sneak in cocaine up your ass.
I wouldn't know. I haven't done it in a while.
Somehow I know. I only know this stuff from movies. That I think when you sneak drugs up your ass, it's called keistering. Is that what I'm to know?
That would be the asshole, yes. Oh Lord.
Artie Lang has made MFFT writes Artie Lang has single-handedly made coke expensive. I mean, is it a dumb question? How much is cocaine? What is it going for? What do people pay for this shit? I don't get it. I don't understand. And then, like, to watch this trial, I say this all the time, if you were in the drug enforcement business, wouldn't you just sit outside Depp's Sweetser place and just wait for his assistants to leave and just tail them to where they're going? And isn't that the first order of business in your
They have
job
other things to
description?
worry about.
I don't know about that. I think you're going right to Pablo Escobar with that. That's what I would do if I were in the FBI. I'd sit right outside Sweetser and go, "Oh, there goes Nathan Holmes." I'll just trail him right to Pablo Escobar. I mean, you'd think, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Good
when you know.
God, Depp is gorgeous in my thumbnail. Anyway.
What's the picture of?
He's got a bandana on, and you see his beautiful shoulders. He's so cute.
Is it from vacationing on his yacht?
Vacationing in Salem, Oregon. Yes.
Does he have his head tilted back like he's trying to get
No.
sun?
No, this is a studio photo.
Already made the price drop, Johnny Meyer. Yes, he did. Titles can't be. Johnny Meyer, can we book you for next week? And pick your brain on all your various Depp experience. Obviously, we're going to spend more time on the Depp films than anything else. But I mean, Janine Garofalo reference is crazy. David will go crazy. We got to have David for that. If you're going to talk Garofalo, we got to have David again. Can you make a movie called Gone with the Wind? Just not be an exact remake. Imagine that. No, it's not the same thing. It's just called Gone with the Wind.
Thank you, PCBPO23. As always, thank you.
Crazy.
Since you're not going to get to it for 6
I am
hours.
getting to it right now. There's David, Mr. Deppening, Ren for April. Much love. So now, David, we believe me, we brought you up many times, especially when Johnny Meyer had his Janine Garofalo story, which I never thought we'd hear for anything. If Janine Garofalo hopefully is Googling herself, she'll come up on this, and because I think we're the only ones talking about her right now. Titles can't be copyrighted. Oh, I didn't know that, John. I didn't know that. Did you know that, Sarah? Titles can't. That's how McDowell stole my quite frankly from my thread. I should have I couldn't copyright it. Or could I copyright it?
You still can.
I can still copyright.
I had that thought the other day, by the way.
What thought?
Just to go in there and snatch that up and have the rights.
Trademark it.
Yep.
And it's the worst title in my whole Radio Gunk thread. Quite frankly, it was the worst. It was the worst thing. I think it was the last thing I would choose.
Well,
Everything
then it's
else
fitting,
was better.
then.
Lotus Notes was better. Everything else is better.
No further comment.
Isn't Johnny still being sued over that song? Oh God, the thing with Beck. I don't know where that went, Kathy Scott. That's a great. He's talking about the old blues guy and the song, the Jeff Beck song they got sold, the 18 album. I wonder where that's at. We got to do a follow up on that. What he was literally in 10 lawsuits at the same time. So much so I couldn't even keep up with it.
Mm-hmm. I'm listening to my neighbors argue. Sorry.
Really? What's the
I don't know. They're They're outside my door.
Isaac shared a post on Instagram. Oh, Isaac Baruch from the Viper Room with some band. Kala, is that true? So Isaac Baruch went back to the current Viper Room, which Depp doesn't own anymore, or is that from back in the day? I wonder what Isaac would think of Janko, because they're both from. Isaac's from Miramar too, and so is Witkin. A lot of Jews down there, right? Bruce Witkin and Isaac Baruch. Isaac, could you believe Isaac Baruch? Like he had the Eugene accent when he came on and say, like, "What is this guy?" I'd only seen his name, right, and I'd never heard him speak or anything. And he comes on, it's like this Eugene Brooklyn thing, and he's from Florida. I'm like, this is crazy. Ooh, and he looked like Billy Joel, who is also a Eugene. Sal Jenko used to call him. I used to Johnny Rizzuto. I'm the money store. Is that what you're referencing from the old Yankees days? Yep. Keister said. Oh, thank you, Crazy Robin. Crazy Keister. How about that crazy booty on the Keister on Crazy Robin?
I wouldn't know. I haven't seen it.
We just assume it's up to $80 to $100 a gram, says Johnny Meyer. Does that sound right to you for cocaine?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I paid last time.
It's a low-level crime. Is it a low-level crime?
What, possession?
Possession of cocaine is a low-level crime?
It's legal in Oregon.
Cocaine?
Possession is legal in Oregon in general.
All right. I don't know. I guess it's state by state. I would have thought it was a felony.
As I said earlier in the podcast, that's why the state is turning into garbage.
But what's crazy is the whole premise of 21 Jump Street is based on that being a felony.
Mm-hmm. As it
right?
should be.
As it should be. And yet now he can get caught. How about the irony of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
21 Jump Street, it's a felony, and then Depp's, it's not. It just cavalierly, capriciously throws it around like it's powdered sugar. And then Blow and Prison, it's called the Prison Wallet. It's also called the Prison Wallet. Thank you, PCP23.
I like that.
I never
term.
heard that. Anything prison, I'm all for it. You know how much I love prison, right? Good old squat and cough. Holy shit. They don't want that. They don't want the guy who sold them his stuff. No, I know, Pellel, but I'm saying his assistants, when they go find it, right, you trail them to the source. You don't prosecute them. You say, who's above you and who's above him and who's above him. And that wouldn't you do that if you were the DEA?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, that's Officer Hansen would be doing that. You know that. He and Aoki would be out there with Penhall. All right, Johnny, you're booked. You're booked. I can't wait to hear these stories. I just can't wait. We'll send you a link next week. We'll have David on with you, and who is, as Stephen Williams called him, Comfort, as he called Dustin Gwen. And we'll talk. You'll pick your brain, and we're easy hangs, I think, and we'll have fun with that. And it'll be like 8 o'clock Eastern time next Friday, if that's good for you. Or maybe we could. We're not married to that time, but that's usually when we go on. The scissoring, the scissoring till I sore, scissoring till we're sore, says Crazy Robin about David. He shared it about 2 days ago, and it's new. An African American lady claimed to write The Matrix and sued the Wachowski brothers. Right? Did you know, Rooster, that Depp supposedly turned that down? Matrix. That did not come out until a few years ago. That was not, and that surprised me. Not surprised me that he got offered it, but I'm just trying to. It surprised me that it only came out a few years ago. Would you like to see him in The Matrix, Sarah?
I have not even seen the original Matrix, so I couldn't tell you if that's a good selection for him or not. But I would like to see him in that little Matrix outfit with the duster.
I want to see him act with Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah, all
And
right, that's a good idea.
Elizabeth, what's her name? Carrie Ann Moss. She's underrated She's an underrated actress.
Scientologist.
She plays. Is she a Scientologist?
Mm-hmm.
Does it sound crazy? She looks like a Scientologist. Does that sound weird to you? Like there's
I
something
honestly, I
about.
couldn't pick her out of a lineup. I know the name.
She was very big in the '90s. She's the female lead
She and
in
Jag.
Matrix. No, Catherine Bell is. You're thinking of
Oh, okay. I
Catherine
get
Bell.
them mixed up. Catherine Bell but Carrie Ann Moss is a Scientologist. Oh, well, I've got to Google
Maybe
it. Sorry.
you're thinking of Elizabeth Moss,
I'm right. You're
who is
right. I am. Never
she's
mind.
in Mad Men.
Edit that out.
She got the Invisible Man script that Depp was supposed to do, and he wanted too much money and they scrapped it. And it
Mhm.
went to her, and it was like a smaller movie, and it did really well. I think he could have had a piece of that too. They were supposed to have this monster fucking shared universe of the public domain monsters, Dracula and Frankenstein and the Wolfman and friggin' the Mummy, and then it just fell apart. In fact, there was a cover of Entertainment Weekly that showed Depp, Russell Crowe, Tom Cruise, and friggin' oh god, what's Penelope Cruz's husband's name again?
Javier Bardem.
Javier Bardem, right? He's going to play Frankenstein. They were on the cover of this, and the whole thing got shut down. And Depp was going to play the Invisible Man, and
Like Chevy Chase did.
yeah, Memoirs of Invisible Depp. That's stopping my mom will shoot. What's the other thing he did? The Cops and Robertsons. That was the.
Don't
Chevy Chase.
forget the movie he did with Dan Aykroyd and Demi Moore.
Oh God!
That was the
yeah,
worst
yeah.
movie ever. I just what's it called? I need help, chat. Sorry. Dan
LA is
Aykroyd is the mayor. It's so horrible.
Johnny Meyer says LA is no longer prosecuting low-level possession of anything.
Same
That makes
here.
sense. That's crazy. That makes sense. I mean, that was they must.
You have Oregonians now that are like, well, how can we reverse this law? All right.
Crazy Robin goes, you're gonna use those resources by trailing them. Yeah, to me that's the priority. I just want the dirt. It's just I feel like that's the best use of resources, even though I know it's not.
Thank you,
To
Johnny
me, like,
Meyer. The movie Nothing But Trouble. Oh, maybe the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
Did God, everything about like those old cheesy 80s movies with the Brat Pack.
I have most of them on DVD.
You have that
great movies.
on Blu-ray?
I don't have that one. I would never pay a cent for that movie, but I have a lot of good movies.
Yeah, Sarah, you're thinking of Randy Moss, the wide receiver for the
Yeah.
Vikings. What the heck was Carrie Ann Moss was in, believe it or not, I swear to you, she was in Chocolat. She was in Chocolat with Depp, who played Rue, and fucking he again stole that movie. He's in it for maybe 20 minutes, and he basically does like a Bono impression.
I know. I've watched. There's a YouTube channel that has just Depp scenes in every movie he ever did. That's how I've watched that movie.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I'd seen Chocolat probably 4 times in the theater, and by the second or third time, I knew when he was going to show up, and I showed up late, So I would waited like I don't know what it was, like a half hour, and I would walk in as he showed up. So psychotic. I saw it probably 3 or 4 times in the theater.
The only
And
way I would eat chocolate with him is off of his nipples. That's it.
Do you remember that song? It goes, I'm like a bird, I'll only fly away. I don't know
Why would you
if
ruin this
some-"
show?
Because that was the Chocolat trailer on TV.
Oh God,
Is it
is that
Natalie
song really in
Natalie
the
Imbruglia?
trailer?
Is that Natalie Imbruglia that did that? Oh my, Natalie
Yeah, I think
Imbruglia.
so.
And that was the original trailer that I'd seen on TV. And I don't know if it's actually on the soundtrack, but sometimes they'll use a song and it's not actually in the soundtrack. For example, Blow used goddamn, was it Connected by the Stereo MCs?
Mm-hmm.
Gotta get yourself connected. And it was all over the Blow trailers. And it was not in the soundtrack and not in the movie. And I mean, it made me fall
They
in
got to
love with
draw
that
you
song.
in.
I know, but why would you not? Why would the Stereo MCs not let them use it for the movie?
I don't know. It's not
Oh,
really
it
a
would have been
period
perfect.
song. That's a period movie.
Frank Sinatra's
Nelly
niece.
Furtado.
Okay, Nelly
But
Furtado. I always
Johnny
thank you.
Meyer says Nelly Furtado.
Thank you, Johnny Myers. I always confused Natalie Imbruglia and Nelly
They're all
Furtado.
the same.
They're all the same. That came out. It's Promiscuous Girl, right? Doesn't Nelly Furtado have a song called Promiscuous Girl that she mentions Steve Nash in the song? She says MVP, who he didn't deserve either MVP.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, she mentions, I believe she mentions Steve Nash. God, does anybody else confuse those two? Nelly Furtado and Natalie Imbruglia. Nelly Imbruglia, Natalie Furtado.
99% of the planet does. Don't worry.
Nothing But Trouble is so bad. It takes like that's Julia Roberts and Nick
No.
Nolte,
Oh, that is Nothing But Trouble.
isn't it?
Oh my God! Now I got to look it up. Is it the same title? Keep going.
I remember Nothing But Trouble. Julia Roberts'
Nick
clothes
Nolte.
fall off, and she's covering herself with something, and Nick Nolte's like in front of her, and there's
You
a
know they're
little.
both called Nothing But Trouble.
Okay, yeah, that's another title that you just kind of like, why? You know it's been done. You know, Crazy Robin, Michelle Branch. You bring her up. That's a good reference. When we were going over the Depp Heard stuff, do you know that Michelle Branch did an Amber Heard on whoever the hell she was married to at the time? Some guy had a domestic abuse thing against her, and the only other example I know of that was Chuck Finley, the Angels pitcher,
Tawny Katane,
and
yeah.
Tawny Katane, right? And that never got any of the attention that this got. But Michelle Branch, I think she got arrested for domestic abuse, like within the last year. And
Yeah.
her and Vanessa Carlton are always getting mixed up, those two.
I actually don't mind Michelle Branch
No, she's
and
talented.
or Vanessa Carlton.
No, they're both like talented. They sing their own shit. They play instruments. I get no problem with either one of them. That's how pop music should be. I agree with you. By the way, who am I? Kirk McCaskill over here, Sarah. Who am I? Mark Langston over here.
I
I
now
love
have
Jeff
all
Dillon.
of these 80s movies running through my head. Am I the only one that enjoyed Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo better than Breakin'? I
Oh
enjoyed it more.
God, a lot of people are with you on that.
I don't know. I think I'm the only one.
Johnny Meyer loves the stereo MCs. You see, Johnny, did you know that was on the Blow commercial? He goes, "Cocaine exploded upon the American culture like an atomic bomb. It started in Hollywood and works its way back east. Everyone was doing it, and I mean everyone." And then Connected is playing over the George Young narration, and that just stuck in my head. It's really good commercials. And I proposed to Sarah one time that she
Oh, you
puts
did? I
Camilla at the end.
accepted.
You remember I showed you the trailer for that a few weeks ago, and at the end they do this montage of everybody in his life, and they show George Young, Depp, and they show Ray Liotta, and they show Pee Wee Herman, Paul Rubens playing Derek for real, and then they show Rachel Griffiths, who's younger than Depp and plays his mom. And I think that you should have put your cartoon cat at the end of that, and it goes, and it shows a montage of everybody. I thought it would be great if Camilla shows her concern for George Young at the end. Would you do that?
No. I need a
Come
live
on,
action shot
please do
of
it.
Spawn works plan. Bon, what's your dog's name again?
Odessa.
Odessa, that's a great name. So
She's
cool.
adorable. I absolutely loved while I was outside just hearing you saying that you worked out which part of chocolate Depp was in.
Yeah, I would too. I did it a few times.
The second or third time you went and saw it, you came late. I love it. You are a super fan. That's incredible, man.
I also did that with Before Night Falls, the Julian Schnabel movie. He plays 2 roles in that. I knew exactly when he'd show up, and I would leave the theater, come back again when he was on. I just didn't give a shit about anything else. He plays. You would love it, Sarah, because he grabs his schwanz in the movie where he plays interrogating Javier Bardem.
Does he pull it out?
No, he's just grabbing it the whole time.
Damn.
It's like according to Kate Moss, he has a Gilbert Grape in his parents, and that's not a compliment.
Wow.
That was a rumor. That was an actual thing that had gone.
I've heard
wild.
otherwise.
Who'd
so
you
who
hear
knows?
from?
My dream. I don't know.
Okay. All right, but want to wrap it up here? Bon, you have anything to add or promote or?
No, I'm good.
Everybody wants to know what your burgeoning relationship with Casey Armstrong's like now. Where's that bromance going?
Oh, we're getting it's going great. I love him. He's a lovely guy. Just like he's on air persona. He's just like that off the air. He's just lovely, and he did a little test stream yesterday. So he's gonna do live streaming soon.
Oh, he's gonna do live. Okay, that's what you're helping him out with doing his own. Yeah, it's about time he did. That's a good point. I never thought of that.
Can you pass along to him too, as I love him, and he's even more sexier than he used to be?
Very charismatic guy.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Sarah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Can I pass along to him to have him tag us also in his tweets? Thank you. Not just Arm. Tag the Deppening.
Have you had any interactions with him, Sarah, at all? Like in terms of
he's following me, but I think he follows everybody.
I don't know about that. He might know you. He follows it more than you think he does. I told you I found footage of him punting for Western Kentucky, right?
He can punt me anytime.
I knew you were gonna do it.
Nice.
He can punt anytime through my goalposts.
Oh,
I was listening to. I was going through looking for dirt on Howard, some old audio, and I keep running into these things where Casey kept coming back on that show and feeding into their schadenfreude bullshit where they're hoping he's doing bad and wish, oh God, this downward spiral. Casey, we're rooting for you. No, you're not. You're exploiting him and you're making him look like a piece of this idiot, this loser left our show and look what's happened to him. It's utter schadenfreude, phony bullshit. And they kept having him on. Oh, what's up? Give us the update, Casey. And it was like, oh, you got a D week. Good. Oh, that's horrible.
And then they mock him the moment
they mock
he
him
tells
after.
them, a bunch of assholes. It's so
because
rude.
he was promoting stuff. Because he had to do it, kind of thing.
He's like the coolest guy they ever had on the show, pretty much. And they fucking.
He's a crazy combination of charisma, like where. He's in the beloved category, which is impossible to do on that show. Like there's like 4 people that can pull it off.
You can't even get it for Grillo. You'll get a bit of like.
He's annoying.
But you
right?
also get people who hated him. With KC, I've never seen.
Artie has haters. Artie has a lot of haters. A lot of people hate Artie, which surprises me. And you Sour Shoes, KC, Billy West, and Beetlejuice. That's my list of who is beloved from that show.
Yeah.
To thank Casey for all of the great entertainment he gave me, I would like to offer him the opportunity to sit naked at my dining table while I make him the greatest lasagna he's ever had.
Oh,
well, you know what we'll do? We'll bookmark this and show him the segment. Ending with him.
I can definitely make the Twitter thing happen, him tweeting you, because I've been writing his tweets lately, because he really does not know how to use social media. So I can just add anyone's name. Is anyone in the chat want to be in Casey Armstrong's next tweet? Because I can add it. Who deserves it? John and Sarah, you pick. Who would you like?
Crazy Robin. I don't think she has a Twitter.
That's the problem. We need someone's got a Twitter.
I don't I will at anybody. I mean, I think anybody that wants it would just put you in a group thing.
I only care about the Deppening. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Oh, trust in Bon Jovial. The next tweet you'll see, you will be there. I'll get him to also put you in Sarah as Sarah
Hey,
of
all right.
Atlantis.
Timbaland. Wow, the crazy. That's right. He teamed with Nelly Furtado, and that's Promiscuous. That's right. Oh, he produced that song. She was going rap. Yes, I didn't realize when she was going rap.
Also got an update on what you were talking about when I was gone with Jeff Beck. There's no news about that plagiarism lawsuit.
It's like they threw
yet.
money. It's like they threw money at it, right, to make it go away.
I guess I'm assuming it'll be just settled out of court, but with Beck dying, it's probably been a factor with that lawsuit. So it's no updates yet, though.
They claim the Rocky Brooks thing was settled out, that they paid them. We got nothing on it. That just went away. So we're to assume that Depp just paid him off, and who knows.
We don't know yet, because that was all October, I think, last year.
Yeah.
So it's only been, a short period of time in the whole legal time span that things happen. So I think it'll be settled, out of court.
If
I don't think Depp's going to be
if he
interested.
did what they say he did, I would have done worse to this guy. If he berated this woman on the set, apparently he was a homeless woman who was hanging around the set, and he was just like getting racial with her and reductive. And they said apparently Depp. Now everyone confirms this on the set that he defended this woman, and it got physical. And I would have been worse. So I'm proud of him for doing that, and I would have been way worse, way worse. In fact, I would have jumped in front. I wouldn't have gotten in on that. I would have taken the blame for it. In fact, if I were on the set, that's my other business. After reading his script, I'm going to take the blame for things that he does.
I like that. I know. I believe you too. I know you. You're not joking around.
No,
You
I'll
would.
take the blame for it. I'll just own it and I'll talk about it. Go, no, I did it, and I'll go, do something about it. I'll be like Charles Barkley. I'll just go. You just can't do anything to me. I don't care. You can't fire me. I'll do whatever I want. You can't, and I'll take the blame for it. Anything salacious, I'll take the blame for it.
There it is. You heard it live.
You hear the ice? Oh, okay.
I love the ice. Good Lord, I love it.
Scott the engineer is not pretty. I mean, he's not hated, Josh, but the problem with Scott the engineer is that he isn't. No one cared. It was almost like apathy with him. Like he did it, and that's the show's fault. Like I like Scott, but he's not beloved. Scott's not beloved, right, Sarah?
No, I don't. I just don't get him.
The very first episode I watched was Scott messing up the bumpers.
Yeah.
So he always has a special place in my soul. But I always kind of felt like he was being forced.
Yeah.
If I had to pick between stuttering an episode with Stuttering John or Scott the engineer, it would be Stuttering John every time.
Scott, as far as the tomfoolery that goes on the show and the shtick, he didn't really fit in with. He's an engineer, and he didn't quite know how to go along with it, and he just isn't meant to do that. And it was very forced, as you said. All heart, right, Casey? Yeah, it never quite. He just couldn't. Like he wasn't invited on the private jet to the Vegas and stuff, and you felt sorry for him in that way.
He's very awkward sometimes in the studio, like with his when he tried to fight back.
Yes,
he was just outmatched.
Yep,
and because it was 5-on-1.
Yeah,
but yeah, I like nowadays. I would take Scott 20 times to Sunday over.
Oh, he'd be the best thing about the show right now. He'd be like the most likable. Nobody's likable on the show. So he'd be like the most easily. That's probably why they get rid of him. Like, is Scott the engineer the most likable person on the show?
He's now working for that Tommy guy from MSCS.
Are you kidding me?
He's an engineer for him, or he was.
Oh my God! Can you audio engineer Botox?
Yeah. Oh no, cheek implants.
Cheek implants.
Waterbed mattresses.
What a weird ending. All the Depp heads want to hear Scott the engineer talk.
I know. Sorry.
Scott Salem.
We didn't get to our main topic, so we're on fumes right now.
All right, it's Nelly Furtado, Natalie and Bruno. They hate each other. Oh, they have a few. Oh, you bet they hate it. Arm, did you at some point stop keeping track of popular current music? If when, yes. MFT. What happened, I think, with a lot of people when the Napster stuff took over and BearShare and Kazaa, it sort of destroyed. I mean, like pop music became like you'd go after it, and I was such a radio it was a lot of driving. I listened to the radio, and that doesn't exist anymore. That was a lot of my music knowledge came from listening to the radio and MTV, and neither one of those things exists. I don't know how anyone consumes top 40 anything anymore. Where do kids even find what's popular? Like, what's the source? Right? How do you know what comes out anymore? What's the main way you consume music that's new? I don't understand where people find it.
I just sound old. For me, it's just, it all sounds the same now. I sound like my parents, but every song sounds the same.
If I hear a good new song, I will totally acknowledge it. Like I have Shazam is like the #1 app on my phone, and I have it when I go in places. Maybe I'm watching TV, right? And there's a sports event where they play a song to go to interstitial, and I go, "Oh, I like that." And I'll shove it to the TV, and I'll go, "Oh, what the hell is that?" And I find out it's a song that came out 2 years ago, and then I'll download it. Illegally download it and put it on. And I emphasize illegally, and then I'll throw it on my phone, and I'll know this one bit. That's how it's literally from the background, and I don't know any other way to consume it. I'm not a bitter old man in the sense that I will embrace new music if it's good, and I will say what it is. Like there's some guy named Gary Clark he's the wide receiver for the Redskins, who's like a guitarist or something, and he's supposedly like a new, I don't know. But I don't know how people consume new music. I really don't. He doesn't have any advocacy. That's a good parallel, right? Scott the engineer. People that root for him, and he doesn't care. Ronnie was his best friend, right? Wasn't Ronnie? They lived by each other in Queens, and they were kind of the same age. Thank you, Josh. Yeah, Josh talked about with Shazam. Like it's the greatest app in the world, and I wish it were around 30 years ago. And it's the greatest thing ever because you don't know the title of something, and you get it and download it. Half my playlist on my phone is from Shazam stuff that I zap, and Billy Batson gets me. I share my playlist with Billy Batson, and anyway, I want to thank everybody for joining us in this scatological just hang. But I think a lot of great Depp information has been dispensed, whether we random. And Johnny Meyer, you are booked for next week. Thank you, sir, for generously giving us all. There's nobody we can bring up that you don't have some connection to in 3 degrees. Bon, thank you for joining us.
No worries.
I cannot wait to see this new Casey stream, by the way. Hopefully you pop in on Radio Gunk next week. Sarah, thank you for all that you do. We cannot wait for the James Dean film.
It's going to be only on Patreon. Thank you.
It's only going to be on Patreon. Speaking of Patreon, 21 Jump Street, 902 in Idaho, the Gary Delabate super duper, super sized roast with everything around it I've been working hard on the last bunch of days. And I'm very much looking forward to wrapping that up, but for you to hear it because it's never been done and never will be done. We love you too, Crazy Robin. This is Arm for Sarah and Bon Jovial and Johnny Meyer saying, gotta get yourself connected. Yeah. The writing's on the wall. And if you're not rejected, stumble, you might fall. Stumble, you might fall. Stumble, you might fall.
I hate men, but moo, moo, moo. I'm a loser. Eh?
Sit down. Stay where you are. For the first time, I choose to walk out on you.
Or 21 Jump.